Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Hinata awakes Naruto's Bloodline 2 Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for Part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Naruto's POV. I can't believe it. All I did was ask if she would go out with me, and what did she do? Sakura freaking hit me so hard I fell into the river, and to make matters worse, Ino was there laughing at me. Now they're going to tell everyone. I took my wet jacket off before wringing it and letting the water out of it. I gave a deep sigh and thought to myself, why do I even try? Sakura hates me, Sasuke thinks I'm an idiot, Kakashi-sensei ignores me, so why do I even try? I watched the small river go by and I listened to the sound of the water. I felt at peace right there. I heard someone say, Naruto-kun, are you okay? I turned and saw white, no lavender eyes looking at me with care in them. Hinata's POV. I saw it all. How Naruto just asked her one question and yet Sakura punched him so hard he fell into the water. I was so mad. But what can I do? Nothing. I sighed from the tree I was in. But I gave a sigh of relief when I saw Naruto pop out of the water. Ino and Sakura were fighting over Sasuke again when Naruto asked, and she punched him. When they saw him, they both laughed at him. I saw Naruto watch them leave and he sighed as he got out of the water and sat at the edge of the riverbed. He then took off his jacket. I felt a small blush come up, but I pushed it back. Today was going to be the day I was going to ask him if he wants to go get some ramen with me, but I don't think he would want to now. I jumped down and started to walk by, but something in my head yelled at me. Do it. Ask him. I was planning to ignore that voice like I always did, but then I heard it say, fine, if you won't do something then I will. My body suddenly began to move on its own and I started to walk over to him. It was like I had no control, like my inner voice was walking me over to him. When I got close to him, I asked him with my stutter, and Naruto-kun, are you okay? Just then I had control of what I was doing. I saw Naruto looked up to me with his blue eyes. I felt a huge blush coming up and I gulped. Normal POV. Naruto saw Hinata blushing. He started to wonder why. Hey, you're Hinata, right? He asked. Hinata's eyes went wide as she got a deeper shade of red on her face. He remembers my name, she thought as she nodded, and her inner self did a happy dance. So, what are you doing here, Hinata? Naruto asked her. I was wondering, come on, say it. Her inner voice yelled. Naruto blinked in confusion as he saw Hinata try to say the words if why you want tea to go get some ramen with me tea tomorrow after tea training? I mean if you have tea training. Naruto blinked while he thought, is she asking me out? Nah, she can't be, but what if she should? I say yes. I mean I was planning to ask Sakura tomorrow, but since she's being mean lately maybe I should. I'm okay, Hinata, sure, why not after training, right? He said. Hinata blinked a few times and blushed with a smile as her inner self yelled. He said yes. Oh okay, after training, how about around 8? She said, only this time not stuttering that much, which Naruto noticed. She sounds nice without stuttering so much. She should do that more often, he thought. Okay, sure, see you tomorrow, Naruto said as he got up and started to walk away, but before he left he stopped and said, bye, Hinata-chan. He walked more and left a bright red blushing Hinata. She stopped blushing and ran back home thinking about tomorrow. When she got home she was looking at different outfits, wondering what to wear the next day. She stopped and gave a big smile for a second. She placed her back to her wall and slid down with a blissful smile. As for Naruto, when he got home he went to his desk and started picking things out for the next day. For some odd reason he smiled a soft smile as he thought about Hinata. When they were done they fell asleep on their own beds dreaming about the next day. Both Naruto and Hinata woke up late. It was around 6 in the afternoon. They rushed around their own house looking for their stuff. When they were done they ran to their team meeting spots. Naruto got to his an hour late, but thankfully Kakashi wasn't there yet. Naruto saw Sakura look at him with a oh god it's him face as Sasuke's face said great the idiot is here. Naruto knew their faces said that just by looking at them. He always had that skill to tell what the person is thinking just by reading their face. But for some reason Naruto didn't care what they thought today. He was busy thinking about Hinata and their meeting after training. Naruto hummed a nice song as he walked by, about ready to punch him in the face Sakura. When he got to the railing of the bridge he sat on it, looked to the sky, and he was still humming the song. Sakura and Sasuke looked at each other wondering what the heck. Naruto was still humming, and when Kakashi got there, he noticed no one had yelled at him yet. He saw Sakura and Sasuke looking at a humming, smiling, quiet Naruto. Naruto looked at Kakashi and asked, hey, do we have any missions or training today, Kakashi-sensei? Kakashi looked and said, no, actually, I was planning on letting you guys have the day off today. Naruto perked up at this and said with a smile, that's great. They all stared at him for a long time. Normally Naruto would say man, but he was happy there was no mission today. Sasuke asked, why are you so happy, dope? Naruto looked at him and said, because I have something to do today, team. Kakashi asked. Oh really? With who? Naruto looked at him and blinked before blushing and mumbling a few words. Kakashi, I made a upside down U shape before he said I can't hear you Naruto, speak up. Naruto blushed deeper and still mumbled huh? Kakashi asked with a masked smile. Naruto took a deep breath and let out the words a girl. Kakashi blinked as he saw Sakura and Sasuke stare at Naruto too. So Sakura said yes to a date huh? Kakashi asked as Sakura twitched at her teacher, while Sasuke was hoping it's Sakura so she could leave him alone today. Naruto looked up and yelled out as he remembered what happened yesterday. What? Hell no! There is no way in hell she is ever going to say yes to me. I mean, it's not like I like her right now. They all blinked at him. Sakura's eye twitched and her inner self was yelling, what did he just say? Kakashi then asked, because he really wanted to know. Then who? Naruto? Naruto looked down again and then looked back up before asking quickly, Kakashi-sensei, what time is it? Kakashi blinked for a moment from the question. Huh? It's about 7:45. Why do you ask? Kakashi said, oh Carp, I'm going to be late. I hope she isn't going to be mad. Naruto yelled as he started to run off. Bye guys, see you tomorrow. Naruto yelled out as he ran all the way home and got ready for his meeting with Hinata. Kakashi and the others looked at each other and decided to follow him today. Meanwhile with Hinata, she got to her team an hour late too. She knew it was already 7 and she knew she only had an hour to get ready. When she got there, Kiba, Akamaru, Shino, and Kurenai-sensei were already waiting for her. Hey Hinata, where you been? Kiba asked as he walked over to her and Akamaru barked, sorry I got home late. Why yesterday? She said this time, almost not stuttering so much. Kiba, Shino, and Kurenai noticed this and they blinked in surprise. She wasn't like this yesterday. I wonder what happened. Kurenai thought, but she heard Hinata ask UMK, Kurenai-sensei, do we have a M mission or T training today? Kurenai blinked before saying no. Why do you ask Hinata? Hinata smiled brightly for a moment. Oh no reason if you all excuse me, I have to get ready for something T today. She said as she began to walk back home to get ready, but then she stopped and said with a smile that none of them had ever seen before, see you all T tomorrow. And with that she ran off. Shino, Kiba, Akamaru, and Kurenai looked at each other and blinked at each other. Was that really Hinata? Kiba asked out to the others who didn't know what to say, but they knew something was up, so they planned to follow her today. Naruto ran all the way home. As he rushed inside he looked for his wallet. He changed his clothes too. He then ran to his closet. He pulled out a box and opened it. He took out some money he had been saving, then he ran back out. He felt like someone's watching him. He smirked to himself as he went into an ally. Naruto knew the streets very well. I mean, what prankster wouldn't? After all, he needed the allies so he could hide for whenever he got in trouble. The only one that knew the streets like him was Irika-sensei. Naruto could still feel the people following him, so he quickly jumped up and took hold of a pole that was above him. He jumped to the next one and the next before getting to the top of the roof of the houses. Naruto smirked before jumping to the other side of the roof and start running the right wrong to the ramen bar. He went to many alleys along the way to confuse whoever was following him. When he felt their chakra gone, he smiled and walked the right way to the ramen bar. He still smiled to himself as he got to the place and waited in front. Hinata ran home, then to her room, got changed, and got out. She never really liked going home, but she felt so good today she didn't mind so much. As she turned left in a hallway she saw Niji walking down the same hall, but he was busy looking down at the floor. Hinata quickly ran to a door beside her and waited for him to leave. She heard the footsteps stop at the room she was in. Hinata knew Niji could use the Byakugan and see if she was there. In a panic she looked around fast and saw the window open across the room. She made a dash for it and jumped out the room as she heard the door open. Hinata sighed and ran to the ramen bar. She couldn't help but smile and blush at the same time. She had never done something like that before. It felt so fun. Hinata ran all the way, and as she was having so much fun she didn't realize her teammates following her. When Hinata got there she looked around and saw Naruto standing there. He looked different today. She noticed he wasn't wearing the orange jacket or pants, but instead he was wearing a nice black shirt and nice dark blue pants. He wasn't even wearing his headband. Hinata felt a big blush come up on her face, but she had to shake it off. Come on Hinata, you can do it, yelled her inner self. I can't, she thought to herself while her inner self sighed. Hinata took a deep breath before walking over to Naruto, who saw her coming. Naruto looked and saw Hinata coming down the road. He blinked and felt his heart go fast and his face getting hot for some odd reason. Hinata was wearing a long light purple shirt that would have been a dress if she wasn't wearing light blue shorts under it. She wore light blue shoes, and in her hair was a clip in the shape of a fox. Naruto shook his head trying to get the blush away, and to calm his heart down he had no idea what these feelings were. Both Naruto and Hinata looked at each other for a long time before Naruto asked quietly but clearly, let's go, and Hinata nodded with a blush, and they both walked in the ramen bar. Meanwhile Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke's sweat dropped as they lost Naruto. They had followed him in a few allies and in one sea count he was gone. Kakashi let out a sigh, Sakura was mopping, and Sasuke didn't care but he wondered who Naruto was going to meet. As for Hinata teammates, they were watching from above on a shop right across the street of the ramen bar. Kiba, Akamaru, and Kurenai looked at each other with big eyes, so that's why she left so early today. She has a date with Naruto. Shino thought, whoa, Naruto and Hinata? Together? Kiba said out loud and blinked in wonder. Naruto and Hinata sat in the bar and ordered a few things when Tucci came out. So what would you two like? He smiled and said, I'll have miso ramen. Tucci, Naruto said happily. Hinata looked at what to eat and said with a blush, I'll have beef. She saw the ramen bar owner smile a kind smile. Okay, one miso, and one beef. I am. Tucci said to his daughter who was in the back, coming right up. Dad. I am, yelled out. Naruto and Hinata sat in quietness for a bit before Naruto asked, so Hinata, have you been on any great missions? Hinata looked up and then back down before saying, and not really, what about you? Well, I had a mission where it was a Serpo C rank but it turned out to be a A rank, Naruto said. Hinata looked at him and wondered what he meant by that. Naruto looked back to her and saw the questioned look on her face. He blinked and said, me and my team was supposed to take this old man named Tizuna back to his home at the Land of Waves, and he was a bridge builder. Naruto started to tell her all about that mission, about to the part where they meet Zabuza and Haku up to the part where the bridge was named after him. Hinata listened with great amazement. When he was done talking, Tucci came out with the food. Here you go, he said as he gave Hinata beef and Naruto miso. So Naruto, is this your girlfriend? I am, asked with a snicker from behind the counter Naruto, who was eating, nearly choked on his noodles. Hinata blushed more redder than ever before. Girlfriend? Naruto chalked out, I am Chan. What do you mean? Hinata-chan, I isn't, Naruto tried to say, but I am said with a grin. Hinata, huh? That's a nice name. Doesn't that name mean a sunny place? She was asking Hinata, who looked up and blushed more before nodding and looking down. That's cool. I am smiled more with a grin. She saw Hinata blush even more and Naruto looked away blushing. I am loved messing with Naruto. It was always fun. Come now, I am, that's enough, we have more orders to fill out, Tucci said as he shooed her to the back to cook some food, but he was smirking at how Naruto and Hinata blushed so much. Both Naruto and Hinata sat there just thinking and trying to keep the blushing down. Sorry about that, Hinata. I am like to embarrass me when I have friends eating with me. But she's okay when you get to know her, Naruto said with a small blush. Hinata looked at him for a long time before nodding, smiling, and blushing. Naruto looked at her and felt heat going to his face. She has a nice smile, he thought to himself. When they stopped blushing, they ate. Soon they talked about missions, food, and other things. Naruto really learned something out Hinata. He found out she liked flour pressing. Her favorite food was sensai, which is soft bean jam, and cinnamon rolls. Her not-so-favorite food was eels and crabs. She even told him a joke, but at first he didn't get it because of her stuttering. But when he pieced it together, he got it and laughed. They were at the ramen bar until it was 8 at night. When they realized this, they laughed it off and left the ramen bar. They both said goodbye and were leaving to go home. Hey, Hinata-chan! Naruto yelled out as he looked back and saw her about to going home. Hinata stopped walking and looked back. I was wondering, do you want to go out again next week? I mean, that is if you don't have anything to do. Hinata blinked and blushed before saying, sure. Naruto smiled and said, cool, next Friday at the ramen bar around 9? Hinata nodded. Oh, okay, bye. Hinata said while walking off. Naruto smiled to himself before whistling to himself and walking home. Hinata's teammates watched the entire date from the rooftops, and what shocked them the most was Naruto asking her out for another date. They then realized the time and went home trying to clear their heads for a bit. Naruto got home around 10, and boy was he tired as heck. He knew he wouldn't be ready for tomorrow's training, but hey, it was worth it. He smiled to himself as he fell asleep thinking about a white/lavender-eyed, blue-haired, blushing girl smiling at him. Her name was Hinata Hyuga. Hinata got home around 11. Since her house was a bit further than Naruto's, she sneaked into her house through the window, and closed the window when she got in. When she opened the door to get to the hallway so she could get to her room, she heard someone say, Hinata-sama? Is that you? She knew that voice, it was Niji. She looked at him and blushed and blinked. Where have you been? Your father has been looking for you all day, he said to her with a hint of anger. Hinata gulped before saying, he's never cared before, so why does he care now? She was a bit mad, she had such a nice time, but now this just made her happy mood sourer. She walked past Niji with a huff. Niji blinked and looked back to her. He had never thought she would ever say something like that. He started to wonder what happened today to make her like this. Hinata got to her room and changed to her pajamas. They were a light blue pants and a long shirt. On them both was moons and birds. She fell backwards on her pillow and looked at the ceiling. As she was about to fall asleep, she smiled softly while thinking about a blue-eyed, yellow-haired, and whisker-marked boy. He smiled a big fox-like grin to her. His name was Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto awoke looking at his ceiling. He had been dreaming about a girl with blue hair and a shy smile. In his dream they talked, and he liked that she heard him and he heard her. Naruto blinked while still staring at the ceiling before hearing his alarm go off. When it did, he looked at it and had a blank look for about 20 minutes before realizing the time. It was about 9 in the morning. Oh crap. I'm late. Naruto yelled as he ran around his house trying to get ready for the team meeting. When he got outside and locked his door, he ran all the way down the stairs, but he stopped when he saw a small lone flower on the floor growing near a dark alley. It was a lavender flower, and it looked beautiful. Naruto looked at it for a long time before picking it. Naruto remembered Hinata liked flower pressing and he wondered if she would like this one. He put it in a small pocket area and ran to the meeting area with his team. Hinata woke up and looked at her beeping clock. She saw it was around 9 and soon she got up and got dressed. As she ran out the door, she saw her father coming down the hall. She knew he was going to come in and yell at her for being out late last night, so she ran back in her room and saw her window. Her inner self said, "Hey, you did this yesterday, why not today?" Hinata got to the window and opened it. She got out right when the door opened. Hinata blushed and smiled to herself as she walked away from her house. When she got to her team meeting spot, she saw Kiba smiling big. "So Hinata, how was your date with Naruto go?" Hinata's eyes went big, her face got redder than a tomato, and then she fainted on the spot. Naruto just reached his team's meeting spot not a minute later. As soon as he got to the bridge, Kakashi come out in a poof of smoke. He saw his teammates look at him. Sakura stomped over to him and yelled, "Where the hell have you been?" Naruto blinked before saying, "Sorry, I got home at 10 last night." Kakashi then asked, "So Naruto, who were you out with all yesterday?" Naruto blinked and mumbled as he looked away. "Speak up, idiot." Sasuke said, uncaring, but he too wanted to know. Naruto mumbled with a blush, "This really nice girl." Sakura had just about enough of this and yelled out, "Just say her name." Naruto looked up and his eye twitched at Sakura's high-pitched voice. "Fine, her name is Hinata. Hinata Hyuga, she's this really nice girl that is really sweet. Are you happy now?" Naruto yelled out with an anger mark. Naruto then saw Kakashi drop his book. Sasuke looked at him funny, and Sakura's jaw dropped. That's who he went out with. Kakashi thought, so the idiot finally got a brain. Sasuke thought, Hinata? Since when did he like her? Heck, since when did he even know her name? And besides, I'm much better than her. Sakura thought, A/N, yeah right bitch. Naruto looked at his team funny and wondered what was going on in their heads. Well, might as well tell them about Friday with Hinata-chan. He gave a little sigh before looking at his sensei. Hey Kakashi-sensei, are we doing anything for this Friday? Like missions or training? Naruto asked out. Kakashi, who was done thinking, looked at him and picked up his book. No, why do you ask? He asked. Because me and Hinata-chan are planning to go to the ramen bar this Friday. Kakashi gave Naruto a smiling upside down U and a snicker. I see, so you're going on a date? Naruto blushed bright and yelled, no, we're just friends. Yeah, but you're friends with a girl, so she is your girlfriend. Kakashi smiled from behind his mask. Naruto went into chibi mode. For the last time, we are just friends. Besides, I don't like her like how I used to like Sakura. At least I don't think so. Naruto mumbled the last part, but then Kakashi asked because he heard it used to. You mean you don't like Sakura anymore? Naruto shook his head. Nope. I think she's a bit too mean for me to like anymore, Naruto said, forgetting Sakura was there for a moment. Kakashi gave a smile behind the mask again, but stopped when he heard a sound coming from Sakura. She looked mad and she had flames behind her too. Naruto stopped and looked at her. She had on her I'm going to kill you face. Naruto's sweat dropped and said, Hee sorry Sakura, I forgot you were. Sakura then cut him off. Shut it, Naruto. I'm going to kill you. Sakura yelled out as she ran at him. Naruto blinked and ran off screaming in horror. Hhhhhh. Kakashi smiled and said to Sasuke there was no training so he could go home for now. Sasuke nodded before walking home. Kiba was poking a passed out Hinata with a stick. Akamaru barked at him to stop. Shino was just being Shino, and Kurenai was thinking to herself. Hinata woke up feeling someone poking her. She got up and said, Kiba-kun, stop that. Please. Kiba stopped his poking and said, have a nice nap? Hinata looked at him and was about to say something until they heard a voice yell, get back here, Naruto. Hinata blinked before jumping up and Naruto-kun? He's in danger. Before Kurenai or anyone could say or do anything to stop her, she had ran off to help her friend and crush. Naruto was running as fast as he could from a really angry Sakura. I'm sorry Sakura, I just forgot. She then cut him off once again. Shut it, you idiot. Naruto ran to an ally and saw he was staring at a wall. Oh shit, he thought as he felt Sakura's evilness coming closer to where he was. Naruto looked around and saw opening on his left. He ran through the one way and saw he was near the edge of town. He didn't dare stop because he knew Sakura was still chasing him. Naruto was about to run over the bridge that went to the other training grounds, when he felt someone take his hand and run to under the bridge. Naruto heard footsteps rush over the bridge and run away in a split second. Naruto looked at the person who was holding his hand. It was Hinata. Hinata saved him from Sakura's evilness. "Hi Hinata-chan," Naruto said. Hinata looked at him, and then remembered she was holding onto his hand. She blushed, and then Naruto blushed because Hinata was still holding onto his hand. She let go, and they looked away from each other blushing under the bridge. They sat there in silences for a bit before Naruto asked, "Why did you help me, Hinata-chan?" Hinata looked at him and was still blushing as she said, "Why, you're my friend and Naruto-ku and I had to do something. I mean, isn't that what friends are for?" Naruto blinked before saying thanks. They sat next to each other in silences for a bit. Then Naruto remembered something. He took the something out of his pocket and said, "Here Hinata-chan, I found this today, and I was wondering if you would like it. I mean, since I remembered you liked flower pressing, and so yeah, I got you it." Naruto gave Hinata the small flower he had. Hinata looked at the flower before blushing and looking at Naruto. "Thanks Naruto-kun," she said with a blushing smile. Naruto looked away before asking, "Lee still on for Friday?" Hinata looked up and blushed before nodding. "Cool," Naruto said with a smile on his face. A small blush was there too, but then they heard the bridge being hit by a fist. Naruto looked up and saw Sakura's fist. "I know you're down there, Naruto," she yelled out. Naruto gulped as he remembered what he did to tick off Sakura. "Hinata-chan, stay here and wait for her to chase me, okay? When the coast is clear, you better get back to your team," Naruto said as he got up and ran out from under the bridge and back up top. Hinata couldn't stop him. Hinata heard feet running fast from bridge, Sakura yelling, and Naruto screaming away. Hinata sat there and waited for the sounds to disappear, and when they did, she looked at the flower Naruto gave her. She gave a soft smile with a blush as she got up and went to her teammates. When she got home later that day, she went to her book of flowers and put it in there. She took out a marker and wrote 3 words under the flower: "Thank you, Naruto-kun." She let out a sigh with a blush while she thought, "I hope Naruto-kun is okay." Naruto got home and locked the door as he gave a sigh. Sakura sure did try to kill him this time, but for some reason she couldn't catch him like before. Naruto replayed what happened today and smiled a soft smile. He walked to his room and laid back on the bed. When he got into his room, he thought to himself, "Maybe it's because I don't like Sakura that much anymore. I don't have to slow down so she can hit me. I wonder what's Hinata-chan doing right now." Annoying to both of them, a man with a mask, a book, sliver hair, and one eye that was seen, was wondering how he could help the 2 new love birds out on their date on Friday. As the days went by, it was finally Friday for Naruto and Hinata, but to one perverted, book-reading, always late, sliver-haired man, it was the day to help out 2 love birds fall in love. Kakashi sat on the roof waiting for his student to come out of his apartment building. He saw from the roof Naruto running around his room trying to get ready. Just then he heard someone right next to him say, "Hello, my rival. What are you doing on this roof?" "YOSH. Kakashi looked and saw Guy. Kakashi let out a sigh before saying, pretending not to have noticed Guy at all, "You say something, Guy." Guy laughed before saying, "I still see you have the vibes of coolness in you." Kakashi gave him an uneasy eye smile and said, "Look, Guy, if it's nothing important, I have something to do today." After Kakashi said that, he saw Naruto run out of his apartment, and was then locking the door to his apartment door. After locking it, Naruto started to head off, and before Guy could say anything, Kakashi went off to follow his student. Hinata made sure she had everything that day: money, breath mints, and the gift for Naruto she had got for him. She looked at the small fox toy she was planning to give him. She had saw this a few days ago on a mission to a village not far from Konoha. When she had saw it, the small fox reminded her of Naruto because this fox fur was orange/yellow and had sharp blue eyes. She smiled at the toy and left her room. She made sure no one was there when she left the house. As she left, she blushed at a sudden thought: is this what I should call a second date? Nah, it's not a date, it's just a normal day with a normal friend, I wish. Naruto stood in front of the ramen bar waiting for Hinata. For some reason Naruto couldn't shake the feeling that someone was going to ruin today, and also he thought he saw someone with silver hair watching him. Naruto waited for 20 minutes when he heard someone coming down the road. He looked and saw Hinata walking to him with a smile and blush, but then he saw she had something in her arms. It was a small toy fox with yellow/orange fur and blue eyes. When he was going to walk over to her, they both saw something. What was that? Is that snow? They both thought. Why is it snowing? It's spring, Naruto asked out as Hinata walked next to him. She looked up and saw the snow wasn't going down straight, but it was being thrown off a roof. Hinata and Naruto then realized it wasn't snow but tiny papers and small balls being thrown. Naruto and Hinata looked at each other before walking into the ramen bar, wanting to get away from whatever strange thing was happening. As they sat down, Naruto couldn't help but ask out, "So Hinata-chan, what's up with the toy?" Hinata blinked a few times and blushed for a while before saying, "It's a thank you. I wanted to give it to you since you gave me that flower." Naruto blinked before looking at the fox. He still looked at it, and let Hinata give it to him. Thanks, Hinata-chan, I'll keep it, Naruto said with a very kind smile. Hinata blinked and blushed again, then they ordered their food and sat in silence. Naruto looked at the fox toy before smiling a soft smile and thinking to himself, wow, my first ever gift, she really got me something. Hinata's really nice, I wonder why I never noticed her before. They sat there and waited for their food to come, but then they both began to hear soft and lovely music. What the heck? They both thought. Naruto looked around the ramen bar and saw sitting in the corner was Kakashi, and he had a stereo out on the table, and it was playing the music. Naruto's eyes twitched at his sensei before getting up and running over, wanting to kill the stereo for some odd reason. He picked his sensei by the collar of his shirt before hissing out, Kakashi-sensei, what the hell are you doing here? Kakashi gave his none-caring smile behind the mask before saying, I'm trying to help. Help? Help? Help with what? Naruto nearly yelled out. He didn't know why, but he was embarrassed that his sensei was playing such music, but then he heard Hinata behind him and Naruto-kun, who is that? Naruto let go of Kakashi and turned around as he pretended to have not done anything. This is my sensei, Kakashi Hatake. Kakashi, this is Hinata Hyuga, Naruto said. Kakashi held out his hand and soon both him and Hinata shook hands. So you're the always late, perverted b-book reading teacher, and Naruto-kun told me about Hinata said as they watched Kakashi's sweat drop at that. Nice to know how Naruto can describe me, Kakashi thought. Kakashi watched as Naruto tell Hinata, hey Hinata-chan, the food's ready, why not start eating without me, I'll be right back. Hinata nodded and turned back around as Naruto took Kakashi by the arm and dragged him outside. Okay Kakashi-sensei, you wanna help? Naruto saw Kakashi nod. Okay, I know a way you can help, go home Kakashi-sensei. Naruto yelled out as he suddenly kicked his sensei away. Kakashi was able to stop himself from hitting the ground though, since he was after all a jounin. Kakashi waited but didn't go home, he was having too much fun with this. Kakashi watched from a roof from across the street of the ramen bar and waited for the right moment to interfere. Kakashi watched as Naruto went back to Hinata and both young genin talked to each other and laughed a small bit. Okay, anyway, I was walking with Sasuke and Sakura down the road, but then out of nowhere someone dropped a bunch of birdseeds and it pours onto Sasuke and Sakura. And then 23 birds come down and start going after them. It was kind of strange but funny. Normally it's me who gets hit by birdseeds and gets chased by some birds for almost 5 hours. Naruto said as he started to eat a few more bits of ramen. Hinata ate before saying, maybe your luck is changing? Naruto looked out into space for a moment and smiled as he said, yeah, maybe you're right, Hinata-chan. Hinata looked at him before looking down, blushing, and poking her food with her chopsticks. Naruto tried to hold his laughter, but it was kind of funny. To him, Hinata would blush so easily, it was kind of funny but cute. Then as Ayam was walking, she had slipped on an ice cube someone dropped on the floor when they were playing with the ice in the cups. A/N. I do that a lot. Ayam was holding on to 2 plates of old, cold ramen 2 customers didn't finish, but when she slipped the tray of ramen went up in the air and landed on both Naruto and Hinata. A oops was heard from Ayam as she looked at them. Both Naruto and Hinata blinked at each other. Naruto was about to ask her if she was alright, but then he heard giggling from her, and then she started laughing, ha 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 ha. Hinata laughed out with a small happy tear near her eye since she was laughing so hard. Why how you show hald s ha ha yo ha 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 you are ha ha self. She laughed out. Naruto blinked for a bit before laughing too and saying like haha you see a haha and talk ha ha dash. They laughed for a while trying to get ramen out of there, and the other one's hair, both still giggling at how funny the other looked. Kakashi, who was still watching, thought that the ramen mishap might have ruined the date, but for some reason it didn't. Kakashi sat on the roof trying to understand why they weren't mad or sad from the mishap. Both Naruto and Hinata got up and paid. Ayam had said sorry as they said don't worry about it. Then both Naruto and Hinata walked out the ramen bar still laughing about how they looked. It was around noon as they walked around. People who saw them wondered why they had ramen on themselves, or why they were together and laughing at themselves. Kakashi thought now would be a nice time to interfere. He watched Hinata go into a shop so she could change her clothes and Naruto waited outside for her. Hey Naruto, come here, Kakashi said as he waved to Naruto, getting the blonde's attention. Naruto looked to whoever was calling him, and his eyes went big. Naruto made sure Hinata was still inside getting ready, and he soon ran over to Kakashi. Kakashi-sensei, what the hell are you doing here? I thought I told you to go home. Naruto whispered out in a hint of anger. He really didn't know why he was so mad at his sensei for interrupting his time with Hinata. I'm here to help, Kakashi said with a eye smile on his face. Naruto's eye twitched. Go home, Kakashi, Naruto said with a hint of anger in his voice as he started to walk back near the shop Hinata was in, but Kakashi stopped him. Here Naruto, why don't you use this to help you out with Hinata? After all, you want her to be your girlfriend, right? Kakashi said while opening his little book and showing a perverted scene on when the boy in the story got the girl to kiss him. Naruto's face blushed deeper than Hinata's. He never ever thought of kissing Hinata, but then Naruto got mad pervert. She's my friend. And only my friend. God, can I have a friend that's a girl? Why do all of you guys think we're dating? Naruto yelled out. Then Naruto did the unthinkable well to Kakashi, that was, Naruto took hold of Kakashi's book and threw it far away, above the shops and houses around them. Kakashi stood there for a minute before running off while yelling, "Hold on, Bookie, I'll save you." Naruto let out a sigh before walking back to the store only to find awaiting Hinata. She had on new clothes but she still smelled like ramen. She took a look at Naruto, and saw a piece of ramen was sticking out of his hair. She was trying not to laugh at this. Naruto tilted his head and asked out, "What?" Hinata tried so hard not to laugh this time and nothing, and Naruto smiled, and this time Naruto went into the store to get new clothes, but he still smelled like ramen. Hinata had on a nice light purple spring dress and light blue shoes. Naruto had a light orange shirt, long sky blue pants, and black shoes. They both may still had smelled like ramen, but they looked good. They had their old clothes in small bags. Both of them walked around looking at items and other things in the shops and stores. Naruto and Hinata were having a lot of fun. Naruto never had so much fun before, and Hinata hadn't felt this happy in a long time. Just then, they both saw a small shop with a dark purple sign that said "Dreams of the Moon." Both Naruto and Hinata looked at each other and walked in. The shop was all dark and kind of scary. They walked around and Hinata heard Naruto say, "Who lives here, a witch?" Hinata looked at a pendant while Naruto was still looking around. They got to the back of the shop and saw a table with a crystal ball, and with a lady who looked like a gypsy sitting there. She had long black hair. On one side of her eye was sliver, and the other was yellow. Hello?" Hinata asked while holding on to Naruto's arm just in case the lady scared her or something. The woman looked up and asked with a smile, "Welcome. Did you come in to get your future told?" Naruto blinked and so did Hinata. Then Naruto smiled and said, "Sure." The woman blinked before nodding and asking who should go first. Naruto pulled Hinata out from behind him and sat her in the chair her first. Naruto said with a smile. The woman nodded and said to Hinata, "Put your right hand out on the table and put your left hand on the crystal ball, please, young one." Hinata did as she was told. The woman looked at the crystal for a moment, and then she looked to Hinata's hand. "I see, you, with the chance to change things in your home, I also see you get the chance to help someone awaken who he really is. You will show all the people of your family you are not weak, afraid, or discouraged one day. But along the way you will have to change yourself, and take a risk," the woman said as she sat back. Naruto and Hinata blinked before the woman said, "Your next, boy." Hinata got up and let Naruto sit down. Naruto did the same thing Hinata did and waited for the woman to say something. "I see, you will have to prove yourself to many people to reach your dream. Your true power will awaken soon, but not now, you are far too young. You will tell someone close to your heart a deep secret soon also. And that person shall be with you till the end of time, no matter what. Be careful though, I see people of pure evil coming to try to take you away. I also see a battle between a man who can summon snakes. He will came for one of your teammates. Your power still grows and your family will be found soon, boy," the woman said, but then stopped. She looked at Naruto's hand. "You will show the light to those who had lost it. One is for a boy like yourself. He will have red hair, he walks alone and needs friends. He knows how it is to be called a demon." Naruto's eyes widened. "I also see a woman. She is the one your heart will love and is the only one," the woman said while getting up. And before Naruto or Hinata could say anything, the woman spoke. "I'm sorry, but it's time for the shop to close. Please go." Naruto and Hinata got up and walked out the door, but as they walked out, they heard the woman say, "Hold on, Naruto, Hinata, take this." The woman gave them a small napkin with something inside. Both Naruto and Hinata walked out of the shop and opened the napkin. Inside was 2 lockets. One had a blue raven on it, and the other one had an orange fox. They looked at it for a while and then a small light bulb went off in Naruto's head. "Hinata-chan, when did we tell that lady our names?" Hinata looked up and realized that too. "I don't think we ever did." They both looked back to the shop and saw the lights inside go off. They started to walk away from the shop but still looked back to it for a moment. It was around nighttime before Hinata said, "I have to get home. I have a mission tomorrow." Naruto looked a bit sad but then asked out, "How long are you going to be gone, Hinata-chan?" Hinata answered, "Maybe 4 days." "Oh, okay, see you in 4 days then, and hey, when you come back why not we get some ramen? Or maybe we can go to someplace new. It's up to you," Naruto asked as he kicked the dirt under his feet. Hinata looked up before blushing and smiling a soft smile. "I'd like that." And Naruto looked up and smiled at her. "Cool, well, see you later, Hinata-chan," Naruto said as he was about to leave, but then he stopped and looked at the lockets he had put in his pocket when they had left that strange shop. He looked at the small raven one before running over to Hinata and stopping her. "Hinata-chan, wait," he said to her. Hinata had stopped and looked back to him. Naruto held his hand out, and she reached her palm out to it. Then Naruto placed the fox locket into her hand. Hinata looked down and looked back up with a wondering face. I'll keep the raven one since you kind of remind me of a raven, and you keep the fox one, okay? That way we can always be together no matter how far we are from each other. Hinata blushed bright before smiling and nodding. She waved goodbye to Naruto, who was now going back home. She waited before putting on the locket and looked at the small fox on it. At the same time Naruto had put on the raven one, and they both thought of the person that the locket reminded them of, both smiling brighter than any star above them. Up above on a roof, Kakashi sighed. After Naruto thrown his book, he had looked hard and just found it not too long ago, and then when he finally found Naruto and Hinata, their date was over. Kakashi sighed again and thought to himself, maybe I should go home, but on their next date Kakashi smiled to himself with all the ideas he had to embarrass Naruto. Kakashi watched as Naruto stopped and looked up at the moon above them. It was a crescent moon tonight. As Kakashi watched his student, he noticed something on Naruto's left shoulder he had never noticed before. Naruto had a strange marking on that shoulder. It was in the shape of the small crescent moon above, and it was glowing brightly. Kakashi blinked in surprise, but when he looked again he saw the marking was gone. Kakashi shook his head at it. Can't be, they died out about 12 years ago, no one lived. Kakashi sighed for a moment as he sat on the rooftops. He waited for a long while before he went home, but was still wondering. Meanwhile, the Hokage was sitting in the tower, and right in front of him was the same woman Naruto and Hinata had met. So is he showing signs of the bloodline awakening, Sophia? The third asked. The woman, who nodded yes, plus the young girl with him seems to be the only key to awakening his bloodline. I have scanned Konoha thoroughly, and only when those two are together is the mark glowing bright, Sophia said, and the third nodded at this. When do you think his power will awaken? The third asked with wonder. In about 1 more month on the third crescent moon, Hokage-sama, Sophia said in an all-knowing voice. The Hokage nodded and waved his hand, which meant she could leave. Sophia nodded at the Hokage and left in a swirl of small balls of light. Naruto, I was hoping you wouldn't find out until you were about 17, but it seems you're just like your mother. She too woke her bloodline around your age, and Hinata, please become strong for both your sakes, and do not give up, the Hokage said as he looked out the window and saw the moon. Minato, Kushina, your son will become as strong as both of you. I just know it, he thought with a smile. Kasumi, may God rest your soul. Hinata will show her father and all the others what she's truly made of. The third let out a sigh but then smiled. Naruto was bored. No wait, he was more than bored, he was really bored. 4 days without seeing Hinata, Naruto was way bored. The reason why Naruto was so bored was because without Hinata, there was no one to talk to in Konoha. Yes, sure, Naruto would talk to Iruka, but since Iruka was a teacher, he didn't always have time to talk with Naruto. And besides that, Hinata seemed to be the only person to really listen to him fully. Naruto still looked at his ceiling. Today he just got done with training and trying to ignore Kakashi's tips. When he got home he was beat and bored, so he rested on his bed. Naruto then turned and looked into his toy fox eyes. He looked at the toy Hinata gave him and asked Hina, when do you think Hinata will come back? The fox just sat there. Naruto blinked before turning back to the ceiling. Naruto then started to fiddle with his locket, the one with the blue raven. With Hinata. Hinata and her team just got back to the village after 4 days. The entire time Hinata kept fiddling with her locket with the fox on it. When they got through the gate she turned to her team and said, Cien yo yu gius gio on why thou me? I have to go tio Naruto splc so we cien gio gt esomet hinji to iat togi to her. Kurenai looked and nodded as they saw Hinata run off to Naruto's house. Kiba then heard Shino say, have you all noticed she's been getting a bit stronger? Yeah, we have, Kurenai said as they walked to the Hokage tower. With Naruto. Naruto woke up hearing someone knocking on the door. Naruto let out a yawn and walked over to the door. When he opened it he saw Hinata standing there smiling, but then she started to blush. Naruto then remembered something. He was only in his boxers. Hinata was having a hard time not passing out. Oh my god, inner Hinata said while drooling over the sight of Naruto. Naruto blushed. Hinata-chan, you're back, do you mind to wait for a bit? Naruto asked as Hinata said while covering up her face and hiding her blush. Suri. Naruto ran inside his room, got on his shirt and pants and ran back out. Sorry about that, Hinata-chan, I was sleeping. And yeah, Naruto said with a blush. It's okay, Hinata blushed out. They stood there for a bit before Naruto said, you wanna go to the ramen bar or something? Hinata nodded and watched Naruto get his keys and wallet. Naruto locked the door and then they both started walking to the ramen bar. When they got in, Ayam smiled and said, well, look who's back, Little Miss Sunshine and her boyfriend Fish Cake. Naruto got an anger mark as Hinata blushed. Sorry, just kidding. But you know, Hinata, when you're not here Naruto gets really moody. He can't even eat his 12th bowl of ramen without you being here in town. Ayam smirked out and dogged a flying ice cube Naruto threw at her, and Hinata was blushing big. Ayam was having the time of her life. Boy, it was always fun messing with Naruto and Hinata, but her fun stopped when her father came out and said, stop messing with them, Ayam, You have orders to fell out. She let out a mumble but said yes, Dad. Tsuchi looked at Naruto, and Hinata asked out, let me guess, 1 miso and 1 beef. Naruto smiled while Hinata blushed and nodded. Naruto and Hinata sat in the bar and talked for a bit before Naruto asked about her mission. Hinata told him in her Hinata way it was great and quite dangerous. Naruto was envying her for a while. All his team did was catch a cat 12 times, help out some of the villagers, and help some old lady to a village that was not even far. When their food got there, they talked and ate for a bit. Naruto then got an idea to take Hinata to his secret place. Hey Hinata-chan, I was wondering, do you think you can go with me to some place? Naruto asked as he paid for the food they ate. When they left, Hinata said with a small blush, Suri. They walked down the road, came to the training grounds near the woods. They stopped when they were near the entrance of the forest. Come on, we have to go inside, Naruto said with a smile as he took Hinata's hand, who started to blush as he pulled her into the forest. They walked for a long time before Naruto stopped in front of a cave. Come on, it's just a little further, Naruto said as he walked in, but Hinata just stood outside not moving. Naruto stopped walking and looked back to Hinata. What's wrong? Naruto asked. Hinata looked up and then down before saying quietly, I'm SCR. Naruto just blinked for a bit before smiling and saying, don't worry. I was scared too when I found this place, but believe me, there is something you need to see and I'll be with you all the way there. Naruto held out his hand so Hinata could take it. She looked at him before reaching out and taking it. They both walked in. Hinata held tighter onto Naruto's hand as they went deeper into the cave. She was blushing big and her heart was racing. Naruto led her deeper, and not long after that they were way deep in the cave. Hinata heard water dripping and soon rushing water. She held onto Naruto's arm. Naruto felt Hinata holding on his arm and he started to blush. Don't worry, it's not far now, Naruto said to her to make her feel better. Hinata then felt the sun on her face. She looked up and saw a light at the end of the cave. She took a few steps forward and gasped at what she saw. She saw it was an open cave and a great waterfall was inside, and the waterfall went into a lake. Light was coming through a hole above them. Around the lake and waterfall was beautiful flowers, different types all over the place. Trees grew all over, and animals, fish, butterflies flew around, fireflies started to come out, birds were heard. In the middle of the place was a stone pathway and small ancient tablet in the middle. Hinata had never seen such a beautiful place in her life. It was like a fairy tale. Come on! Naruto laughed out as he took her hand and ran with her. They were on a small hill and went to the place below them. Hinata was still in awe as she looked around and saw butterflies dance alongside with fireflies. They walked to the stone pathway and she looked at the markings. She looked around and saw the stone tablet. It said something in words she couldn't read. She went down on her knees, tried to read it. She heard Naruto say, on the night of the Mikazuki, the key is relived, and the Hikari bloodline can be awakened. She looked up at him and asked, Yo, you see and read it? Naruto looked at her and said, yeah, the third taught me, but wait, you can't? Naruto asked out the last part. Hinata looked up to him still before nodding no. Naruto blinked and started to wonder. That's strange. Naruto said, why would he teach me a long that no one else can read or say? Naruto asked out. Hinata shrugged as she got up. They walked around and Naruto showed her his secret garden that had many things to eat. They talked more and laughed a lot. When they got tired, they sat on a hill under an apple tree. Hinata was eating an apple Naruto had picked for her from the tree. He sat down next to her, and they sat there eating apples. Wow, desi ari goody, she said while eating more of the apple. It was sweet and at the same time juicy. Thanks, it take weeks to make them like they are, Naruto said as he too ate some of his apple. Nar Utokuen Ho W did yo ukn ao abouttsplac? She asked out while feeding a small deer a piece of her apple that came close to them. I really don't know, Hinata-chan. I was walking home when I was 5 and I kind of ran into 2 people. One was a guy. He had yellow hair like mine and blue eyes. And the other was a woman. She had short red hair and blue eyes too. I thought they were going to yell at me or something, but they didn't. They said sorry and started to walk off, but that lady and that guy looked so familiar, so I followed them. When they went in the cave, I still went after them. And when I got out, I found this place. I looked around and the man and woman was gone. It was like they went even here, but I thought I heard a voice say to me, happy birthday, Naruto. I never did find them again. Naruto said while looking through the hole and seeing the sky and the sun. It's strange, but whenever I'm here I feel like someone or someone's is watching me, making sure I'm safe, Naruto said as he fell back and stared at the sky again. He laid with his arms out while just looking up. Hinata looked at him, and not long later Naruto fell asleep. She just watched him asleep for a bit before laying next to him. Naruto felt someone's head on his arm. He looked and saw Hinata on it sleeping. He blinked before starting to blush. Naruto went back to looking at the sky before noticing his heart was beating fast. What is this feeling? He thought before smiling softly and falling asleep. The breeze was soft, and the sounds were light, but one heart was changing to something new. It was learning a new feeling, love. Above, Naruto and Hinata watching from the apple tree were 2 people smiling to each other. One was a woman, the other was a man. They watched Naruto and Hinata, but as the wind blew they started to disappear in the air. The woman floated down and kissed Naruto on his forehead before the man came down and said, "Come on, let's go." The woman nodded as they went to the stone tablet and disappeared into thin air. Meanwhile, the third sighed as he looked through his crystal ball. He was happy Naruto and Hinata were happy, but he couldn't shake a bad feeling about something. But what? Later that day, Hinata woke up feeling a heartbeat in her ear. She realized she was holding on to someone. When she looked up, she had moved in her sleep to Naruto's chest instead of his arm. She blushed big before thinking. She looked at Naruto's sleeping face. Hinata moved closer to his face, and she stared at him for a long time. Then her inner self said, "Do it." Hinata gulped and blushed bigger. She moved closer to his face before she placed a small kiss on his lips. When she went back, she was blushing bigger and sat up wondering something. "He tastes like strawberries." She heard movement from Naruto. She looked back and saw he was moving around, and then she saw his eyes. Naruto got up and yawned. She saw him blink before realized where he was. "Hi, Hinata-chan," Naruto said with a smile. Hinata blushed and waved. "Hi, you feel asleep on my arm, you know that, right?" Naruto asked out. Hinata blinked and blushed big as she tried to say something. "I just, it's okay," Naruto said with a smile. He looked back up and said, "Come on, I'll walk you home." Naruto got up and held his hand out to Hinata, who blinked before smiling and nodding. She took Naruto's hand and they walked back to the cave they came through. When Naruto and Hinata got to the front Hyuga Manor, Hinata turned back and said, "Today was at Naruto-kun, thanks. Oh, and Hinata-chan, do you mind not telling anyone about my secret hideout? I don't want people to go there and make it bad." "If you don't mind?" Naruto asked her. Hinata nodded and smiled. "I'm happy I'm your friend, Hinata-chan. I can tell you things not even my team knows about," Naruto said as he started to walk backwards, but in his heart he didn't want to leave. Hinata smiled and said, "I failed THESAME, but maybe one day we can be more than friends." Hinata opened the door and walked in before waving bye. Naruto stood there for a bit, but then he turned back and started to walk back home with his hands in his pocket. For some reason his heart was beating so fast, he couldn't but smile and blush a small bit. When Naruto got home and fell asleep on his bed, he still felt Hinata on his arm, like she was still there. He smiled in his sleep thinking about today. Hinata went to her room and closed her door. She let out a small sigh before laying on her pillow. She still felt the sun, the breeze, the grass, and Naruto right next to her. She still heard the birds, the water, and the wind blowing. She still smiled the flowers, the garden, and Naruto's scent. She started to fall asleep not long after. Only thing was she was smiling in her sleep. Naruto was bored. No wait, he was more than bored. He was really bored. 4 days without seeing Hinata, Naruto was way bored. The reason why Naruto was so bored was because without Hinata, there was no one to talk to in Konoha. Yes, sure, Naruto would talk to Iruka, but since Iruka was a teacher, he didn't always have time to talk with Naruto. And besides that, Hinata seemed to be the only person to really listen to him fully. Naruto still looked at his ceiling. Today he just got done with training and trying to ignore Kakashi's tips. When he got home he was beat and bored, so he rested on his bed. Naruto then turned and looked into his toy fox eyes. He looked at the toy Hinata gave him and asked Hina, "When do you think Hinata will come back?" The fox just sat there. Naruto blinked before turning back to the ceiling. Naruto then started to fiddle with his locket, the one with the blue raven. With Hinata and her team just got back to the village after 4 days. The entire time Hinata kept fiddling with her locket with the fox on it. When they got through the gate, she turned to her team and said, "Cien yo u gius gio on why thou me? I have to go tio Naruto splc so we cien gio gt somet hinji to yet togi to her." Kurenai looked and nodded as they saw Hinata run off to Naruto's house. Kiba then heard Shino say, "Have you all noticed she's been getting a bit stronger?" "Yeah, we have," Kurenai said as they walked to the Hokage tower. With Naruto woke up hearing someone knocking on the door. Naruto let out a yawn and walked over to the door. When he opened it, he saw Hinata standing there smiling, but then she started to blush. Naruto then remembered something. He was only in his boxers. Hinata was having a hard time not passing out. "Oh my god," inner Hinata said while drooling over the sight of Naruto. Naruto blushed. "Hinata-chan, you're back. Do you mind to wait for a bit?" Naruto asked as Hinata said while covering up her face and hiding her blush. "Suri." Naruto ran inside his room, got on his shirt and pants and ran back out. "Sorry about that, Hinata-chan, I was sleeping." "And yeah," Naruto said with a blush. "It's okay." Hinata blushed out. They stood there for a bit before Naruto said, "You want to go to the ramen bar or something?" Hinata nodded and watched Naruto get his keys and wallet. Naruto locked the door, and then they both started walking to the ramen bar. When they got in, Ayam smiled and said, "Well, look who's back, Little Miss Sunshine and her boyfriend Fish Cake." Naruto got an anger mark as Hinata blushed. "Sorry, just kidding." "But you know, Hinata, when you're not here, Naruto gets really moody. He can't even eat his 12th bowl of ramen without you being here in town." Ayam smirked out and dogged a flying ice cube Naruto threw at her, and Hinata was blushing big. Was having the time of her life. Boy, it was always fun messing with Naruto and Hinata. But her fun stopped when her father came out and said, "Stop messing with them, you have orders to fell out." She let out a mumble but said, "Yes, Dad." Tucci looked at Naruto, and Hinata asked out, "Let me guess, one miso and one beef." Naruto smiled while Hinata blushed and nodded. Naruto and Hinata sat in the bar and talked for a bit before Naruto asked about her mission. Hinata told him in her Hinata way it was great and quite dangerous. Naruto was envying her for a while. All his team did was catch a cat 12 times, help out some of the villagers, and help some old lady to a village that was not even far. When their food got there, they talked and ate for a bit. Naruto then got an idea to take Hinata to his secret place. "Hey Hinata-chan, I was wondering, do you think you can go with me to some place?" Naruto asked as he paid for the food they ate. When they left, Hinata said with a small blush, "Suri." They walked down the road, came to the training grounds near the woods. They stopped when they were near the entrance of the forest. "Come on, we have to go inside," Naruto said with a smile as he took Hinata's hand, who started to blush as he pulled her into the forest. They walked for a long time before Naruto stopped in front of a cave. "Come on, it's just a little further," Naruto said as he walked in, but Hinata just stood outside not moving. Naruto stopped walking and looked back to Hinata. "What's wrong?" Naruto asked. Hinata looked up and then down before saying quietly, "I'm SCR." Naruto just blinked for a bit before smiling and saying, "Don't worry. I was scared too when I found this place, but believe me, there is something you need to see and I'll be with you all the way there." Naruto held out his hand so Hinata could take it. She looked at him before reaching out and taking it. They both walked in. Hinata held tighter onto Naruto's hand as they went deeper into the cave. She was blushing big and her heart was racing. Naruto led her deeper, and not long after that they were way deep in the cave. Hinata heard water dripping and soon rushing water. She held onto Naruto's arm. Naruto felt Hinata holding on his arm and he started to blush. "Don't worry, it's not far now," Naruto said to her to make her feel better. Hinata then felt the sun on her face. She looked up and saw a light at the end of the cave. She took a few steps forward and gasped at what she saw. She saw it was an open cave and a great waterfall was inside, and the waterfall went into a lake. Light was coming through a hole above them. Around the lake and waterfall was beautiful flowers, different types all over the place. Trees grew all over, and animals, fish, butterflies flew around, fireflies started to come out, birds were heard. In the middle of the place was a stone pathway and small ancient tablet in the middle. Hinata had never seen such a beautiful place in her life. It was like a fairy tale. "Come on!" Naruto laughed out as he took her hand and ran with her. They were on a small hill and went to the place below them. Hinata was still in awe as she looked around and saw butterflies dance alongside with fireflies. They walked to the stone pathway and she looked at the markings. She looked around and saw the stone tablet. It said something in words she couldn't read. She went down on her knees, tried to read it. She heard Naruto say, "On the night of the Mikazuki, the key is relived, and the Hikari bloodline can be awakened." She looked up at him and asked, "You see and read it?" Naruto looked at her and said, "Yeah, the third taught me, but wait, you can't?" Naruto asked out the last part. Hinata looked up to him still before nodding no. Naruto blinked and started to wonder. That's strange. Naruto said, "Why would he teach me a long that no one else can read or say?" Naruto asked out. Hinata shrugged as she got up. They walked around and Naruto showed her his secret garden that had many things to eat. They talked more and laughed a lot. When they got tired they sat on a hill under an apple tree. Hinata was eating an apple Naruto had picked for her from the tree. He sat down next to her, and they sat there eating apples. "Wow, this is goody," she said while eating more of the apple. "It was sweet and at the same time juicy. Thanks, it take weeks to make them like they are," Naruto said as he too ate some of his apple. "And they are Yutokuen ho w did yo ukn ao eboutttsplac?" She asked out while feeding a small deer a piece of her apple that came close to them. "I really don't know, Hinata-chan. I was walking home when I was 5 and I kind of ran into 2 people. One was a guy. He had yellow hair like mine and blue eyes, and the other was a woman. She had short red hair and blue eyes too. I thought they were going to yell at me or something, but they didn't. They said sorry and started to walk off, but that lady and that guy looked so familiar, so I followed them. When they went in the cave I still went after them. And when I got out I found this place. I looked around and the man and woman was gone. It was like they went even here, but I thought I heard a voice say to me, 'Happy birthday, Naruto.' I never did find them again," Naruto said while looking through the hole and seeing the sky and the sun. "It's strange, but whenever I'm here I feel like someone or someone's is watching me, making sure I'm safe," Naruto said as he fell back and stared at the sky again. He laid with his arms out while just looking up. Hinata looked at him, and not long later Naruto fell asleep. She just watched him asleep for a bit before laying next to him. Naruto felt someone's head on his arm. He looked and saw Hinata on it sleeping. He blinked before starting to blush. Naruto went back to looking at the sky before noticing his heart was beating fast. "What is this feeling?" he thought before smiling softly and falling asleep. The breeze was soft, and the sounds were light, but one heart was changing to something new. It was learning a new feeling, love. Above Naruto and Hinata watching from the apple tree were two people smiling to each other. One was a woman, the other was a man. They watched Naruto and Hinata, but as the wind blew they started to disappear in the air. The woman floated down and kissed Naruto on his forehead before the man came down and said, "Come on, let's go." The woman nodded as they went to the stone tablet and disappeared into thin air. Meanwhile, the third sighed as he looked through his crystal ball. He was happy Naruto and Hinata were happy, but he couldn't shake a bad feeling about something. But what? Later that day, Hinata woke up feeling a heartbeat in her ear. She realized she was holding on to someone. When she looked up, she had moved in her sleep to Naruto's chest instead of his arm. She blushed big before thinking. She looked at Naruto's sleeping face. Hinata moved closer to his face, and she stared at him for a long time. Then her inner self said, "Do it." Hinata gulped and blushed bigger. She moved closer to his face before she placed a small kiss on his lips. When she went back, she was blushing bigger and sat up wondering something. "He tastes like strawberries." She heard movement from Naruto. She looked back and saw he was moving around, and then she saw his eyes. Naruto got up and yawned. She saw him blink before realized where he was. "Hi, Hinata-chan," Naruto said with a smile. Hinata blushed and waved. "Hi, you feel asleep on my arm, you know that, right?" Naruto asked out. Hinata blinked and blushed big as she tried to say something. "I just, it's okay," Naruto said with a smile. He looked back up and said, "Come on, I'll walk you home." Naruto got up and held his hand out to Hinata, who blinked before smiling and nodding. She took Naruto's hand and they walked back to the cave they came through. When Naruto and Hinata got to the front Hyuga Manor, Hinata turned back and said, "Today was great at Naruto-kun, thanks. Oh, and Hinata-chan, do you mind not telling anyone about my secret hideout? I don't want people to go there and make it bad. If you don't mind?" Naruto asked her. Hinata nodded and smiled. "I'm happy I'm your friend, Hinata-chan. I can tell you things not even my team knows about," Naruto said as he started to walk backwards, but in his heart he didn't want to leave. Hinata smiled and said, "I failed to teach me, but maybe one day we can be more than friends." Hinata opened the door and walked in before waving bye. Naruto stood there for a bit, but then he turned back and started to walk back home with his hands in his pocket. For some reason his heart was beating so fast, he couldn't but smile and blush a small bit. When Naruto got home and fell asleep on his bed, he still felt Hinata on his arm, like she was still there. He smiled in his sleep thinking about today. Hinata went to her room and closed her door. She let out a small sigh before laying on her pillow. She still felt the sun, the breeze, the grass, and Naruto right next to her. She still heard the birds, the water, and the wind blowing. She still smiled the flowers, the garden, and Naruto's scent. She started to fall asleep not long after. Only thing was she was smiling in her sleep. They would always met at the ramen bar, and after that they would leave to go to the hideout and talk, swim, and eat. Well, whenever they didn't have missions or anything like that. Who am I talking about? Naruto and Hinata, of course. Hinata's father didn't understand why she would leave when she had no missions and she wouldn't be back until late at night. He had even tried talking to her when she was leaving, but all he got was a blank stare, and she had asked him, "You saw why Samethinji?" Hi, she was going to say something, but she just slammed the door in his face, not really caring that was her father. Niji had once tried to follow her, but he had lost her when she went into a ally. Naruto showed her to make sure no one would follow her again. A/N. She told him about how her team found out, but even with the Byakugan he couldn't find her. As for her team, they saw how little Hinata changed each day. She was almost not stuttering, she was even getting stronger. Naruto's team, on the other hand, saw how he started to understand things more. He had almost stopped yelling on missions, and he was getting a small bit stronger. Sakura kept trying to get Sasuke out on a date, but from time to time she sent glares to Naruto. Sasuke was having a hard time trying to beat Naruto in training for some reason, while Kakashi kept asking Naruto when was Naruto's next date with Hinata, but Naruto never told. As for both Naruto and Hinata, they made a deal. Naruto would help Hinata get stronger and brave, while Hinata would help Naruto understand things more and be stronger. They even started making their own fighting styles if they were ever on missions together. Whenever Hinata was with Naruto, she never stuttered anymore, and she was always funny, but only when she's with him. Other times when she's with someone else she stutters, but not a lot, and whenever Naruto was with Hinata he would understand things more, but at the same time his heart would beat fast and wild. Naruto smiled to himself as he walked next to Hinata. It had been 1 month and 3 weeks from that day. They still wore the lockets around their necks, and just looked at things in windows. Hinata was looking in a small ice cream shop when Naruto asked, "You want to get some ice cream?" Hinata looked up and said with a smile, "Sure." They walked in and looked at the things they had. The worker looked up and asked, "So what would you like?" Hinata wondered, but then she said, "I'll taco the cookies and CRM." The man nodded and looked at Naruto. "And you?" "I'll take the brownie bits," Naruto said while looking at it. The man nodded and got their ice cream ready. Naruto told Hinata a joke while they waited and she laughed sweetly at the joke. When the man came back, here you go, he said and gave them the ice cream. They were both in waffle cones. Naruto paid the man and they walked out laughing. Okay, I'll let you get a piece of mine if I can have a bit of yours, Naruto said while pulling his ice cream away from Hinata, who tried to take a bite. Hinata pouted and said, Yo, you just want it all for yourself. She laughed out. People who had watched them were shocked Hinata wasn't stuttering that much this time, and she was laughing with Naruto. Maybe, Naruto said with a smile. He went behind her and took a bite of her ice cream when she wasn't looking. She looked at him and yelled out, Hey! Naruto ran off laughing with Hinata hot on his heels. Get BCK Hiri! She yelled out laughing to him. People stopped what they were doing and stared at them with big bugged eyes. They laughed and ran the entire way to the ramen bar, but as Naruto ran a corner he ran into Sakura. Damn it, Naruto! Sakura yelled out while sitting on the ground. She then got up. Naruto too fell to the floor and was rubbing his head. Sorry, Sakura, Naruto mumbled out as he got up. Sakura was about to punch him, but then a hand stopped her. She looked and saw Hinata standing in front of Naruto, and she held on to Sakura punch. Hey, let go! Inner Sakura yelled. She sent a glare and said, Sakura. He said she was sorry. Sakura just blinked. She was going to yell, but Hinata's glare was scaring her. Hinata smirked as Sakura ran away. Ha, you mess with my friend, you're going to have to mess with me. Inner Hinata yelled out in a rant and kicked Inner Sakura far. Thanks, Hinata-chan, you saved me. Naruto said with a smile. I know, let's see, that's 123 times I saved you. She said with a smile. Naruto then said, so? You owe me ramen. Remember you said if I saved you but 123 times you have to buy me my favorite ramen. Hinata said while poking his head. Naruto said, how you remember all that? I will never understand, but alright, come on. He smiled and they walked into the ramen bar. They sat down and saw I am come out saying, hey, you're back, what would you two like? She said it with a smile. Hinata-chan wants her fave, she won the bet we made 10 weeks ago. Naruto said as they sat down. Hey dad! Hinata's favorite ramen. Plus she won the bet, you owe me 39 bucks. I am yelled out to her dad. Okay. He yelled out, but you could hear mumbles in the back. So, you two heading out after eating again? I am asked out while she cleaned a spot. Hinata nodded and Naruto smiled. You two had been changing a lot, I am pointed out. Naruto and Hinata blinked before looking at each other. They didn't understand what that meant. But they shrugged it off as the food came. Hinata had her favorite but expensive ramen, which blew a huge hole in Naruto's wallet. When she was done, she smiled happily. Hey Hinata-chan, you keep eating like that, people might think you have a problem. Naruto said with a sly smile. Hinata sent a glare to him and said, and W hat do yes, that's supposed to mean? Naruto looked at her and said nothing, but then he ran off. Hinata got mad and chased after him. They ran the entire way to their hideout, and when Hinata found him hiding in an apple tree on a hill, she threw a rock at his head. Naruto came crashing down and mumbled out ouch. He looked up and saw Hinata standing in front of him. He smiled as he saw her give a soft sigh and a small smile. You're lucky I don't kick your butt. She mumbled as she sat down. Yeah, but after all we are friends. Naruto said with his fox-like smile. Best friends? She asked. Yup, best friends. Naruto smiled out. They looked at the waterfall and sighed. No matter how many times they saw this place, they loved it. Naruto got up and said, come on, let's get back to work. Hinata nodded and walked with him down the hill they were on. They walked until they got to their training area. Today was their annual training day. Naruto jumped to one side and got ready. Hinata got into fighting stance. They stood there until Naruto rushed fast at her. Hinata ducked as he kicked up to her face. Hinata hit him in the stomach. Naruto was pushed back, but he did a back flip and landed with a smirk. Hinata smirked and waited for the next move. Naruto disappeared and then reappeared behind her. Hi Hinata-chan. Naruto smiled out. Hinata smirked before kicking behind herself, but Naruto moved out of the way before he got hit. Naruto then punched, but Hinata blocked it. They fought hard with each other for about 3 hours. That was until Hinata used her gentle fist and hit Naruto. Naruto went far and hit the cave wall. Hinata had realized what she did and ran over fast. Naruto-kun, are you okay? Hinata asked out as she helped him up. Naruto smiled and dusted himself off. Sure am. Boy, Hinata-chan, you sure know how to fight when you want to. Naruto said. Hinata blinked and blushed before saying, while I can. Naruto blinked before saying, you're blushing again, Hinata-chan. He smiled at her as she looked at him and blushed brighter. But then she heard Naruto's stomach growl. Naruto blinked and blushed, embarrassed by the fact he hadn't eaten yet. Come on, let's find you something to eat, Hinata said as she took his hand and ran with him down to the garden. Naruto and Hinata picked some berries and sat while looking at the clouded sky with the crescent moon that they were able to see through the hole of the cave walls. Unknowing to them, one person had been following them ever since they left the ice cream shop. He thought to himself, so that's the Hyuga girl, Boss told me to nab man, she's tougher than what they said she was. The man moved from the tree he was hiding behind, only have a twig break. Both Naruto and Hinata stopped what they were doing and stood up quietly. You hear that? Naruto asked Hinata as she nodded yes. She said, where did it come from? Naruto asked, not moving behind the redwood tree, near the apple tree, Hinata said. Naruto nodded before saying, get behind me. Hinata did just that as Naruto turned around and yelled, come on out, we know you're there. The man was shocked, but he said as he came out from behind the tree, not bad kitties. Both Naruto and Hinata saw the man had a Kumogakure headband. Naruto heard Hinata say in a low voice, he's from Kumogakure. Naruto realized what that meant. He remembered when he talked to Hinata, she told him a ninja from Kumogakure tried to kidnap her for the Byakugan when she little, but her father Hayashi killed the ninja. Naruto's eyes sharpened as the man took a step closer to them. Listen kid, I'm not here for you, I'm here for the girl, the man said, over my dead body. Naruto yelled out while putting a hand in front of Hinata, if it has to go that way then fine. Naruto growled in his mouth in anger, stay away from Hinata-chan. Naruto yelled out, look kid, as much as you want to protect your little girlfriend, I have to kill you, so the man said as he rushed over to them with speed, his hand on a kunai. Naruto picked Hinata up and jumped out the way. They landed near the apple tree the man came from. Naruto said, Hinata-chan, I want you to run. Hinata looked at him like he was nuts. What? No way. She said to him. Naruto looked at her and said, no, you have to. I'll keep him busy while you run to the Hokage. I don't want you to get captured. I won't let you get captured. Hinata was going to say something, but then she pushed him out of the way. He almost got hit by a kunai, but Hinata got hit instead. Naruto's eyes widened as he saw her fall. He ran to her side. Hinata-chan. He yelled out as he looked at her arm where the kunai hit. I am Okawai, she said. Naruto heard the man say, man, she wasn't supposed to get hit. Naruto looked back to the man with anger in his eyes. You bastard. You hurt her. Naruto yelled out as he held on to Hinata, who was in pain from the kunai. Naruto was able to get the kunai out, but it still hurt her. The man said, yes so? Naruto was getting angrier. That bastard, how dare he hurt her? I swear I'm going to kick his ass. Naruto thought. Above them the clouds that hid the crescent moon moved. The moon's rays came down to Naruto and hit his body. The man blinked as he saw a sliver light surround Naruto, but he just thought it might just be nothing. Naruto put Hinata near the apple tree, her back to the tree, and said, don't move, I'll be right back as soon as I beat this guys. As he heard her say be careful, Naruto nodded as he got up. Naruto slowly walked to the man and said, you're going to pay? The man just said, really, and how are you planning to do that? Naruto smirked and said, like this. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto made 20 clones appear and the man took a step back. What the he thought? Just then Naruto and his clones rushed at the man with full force. Each one had a kunai. The man smirked as he used Jutsu Flame Barrier Jutsu. A/N. This is not real, I made it up, he yelled out as a fire barrier came around him, destroying each clone. The man looked around before hearing a voice above him say, up here. Naruto came down and slammed his fist on the man's head. When Naruto's fist hit the man, Naruto jumped and landed near Hinata, who was holding onto her shoulder in pain, but she was getting over it. Naruto asked, you okay? Hinata nodded but said, watch it. Naruto turned and saw the man about to hit them with shurikens he had thrown. Naruto and Hinata both jumped out the way and landed not too far. Naruto said, Hinata-chan, let's try out C.3. Hinata looked at him like he was crazy. Naruto-kun, you know we haven't perfected that yet. She almost yelled out at him. Naruto gave his fox-like smile and said, well, now we can perfect it. Naruto jumped to the side while Hinata nodded and did the same. She did 4 hand size and a bright blue light was around her. Naruto did the same as Hinata, but inside of him having a blue color, his was orange. The man stopped and thought, what the hell? It was then Hinata's blue light turned into a bird and Naruto's turned into a fox. The animal shot out and went to the man. The man was able to move out the way of the bird, but the fox was able to get him. He felt like he was burning. The man fell to the floor and said, damn kids, it was then the jutsu wore off. That was the problem, it only stayed for a while on an enemy. The man got up and said, you both just made this even harder than before. He then did some hand signs and said, ground barker jutsu. A/N. Again, not real jutsu. Naruto moved out the way of the attack as the ground around him broke and shattered. Naruto jumped on a shattered piece of the ground and saw something that made his eyes widened. Hinata had gotten hit by one attack and she fell back as the ground broke. She hit the back of her neck and passed out. Naruto's eyes widened and soon anger went into them. Naruto jumped down and jumped over shattering rocks that come up. When he landed near Hinata, a broken piece of the ground went to them. Naruto took Hinata and shielded her. At that moment Hinata woke up. She looked up and saw blue eyes meeting hers. It was then she saw some blood on his back. Hinata's eyes widened upon seeing this. She saw a piece of a sharp spiked rock in his back. Naruto-kun. Are you okay? She asked fast. Yeah, of course I am, Hinata-chan, Naruto said with his smile. Hinata blinked, but then her eyes were wide again. She yelled out, watch out. It was then 40 kunais and shrunkens came down at them. Naruto looked back as time slowed for all. Hinata felt Naruto hold onto her hard and meaning to block the attack for her. Naruto and Hinata closed their eyes as the moon shined down to them and they waited for the hit. But it never came. Naruto and Hinata stopped and looked up and saw the kunais and shrunkens in midair. It was then they saw a barrier abound them as the weapons fell to the ground. Naruto felt as if the barrier was coming from him, and it was Hinata saw it. Right where his jacket was cut off on his shoulder from getting hit in the back by the ground spike was a sliver crescent moon. It glowed in the moonlight. The barrier disappeared into thin air. Naruto-kun, did you do that? Hinata asked. Naruto said, I don't know, maybe the man was shocked but he shook it off. Okay, that's a nice little trick, but guess what, I'm done playing. He ran over and pulled out a scroll and with a poof a sword came out. When he jumped and down to them, something happened, the barrier reappeared and when the man touched it, it sent an electrical spark to him. He fell back when that happened. Naruto helped Hinata up and when they got close to the man, Naruto said, hey Hinata-chan, this asshole needs to learn something. Hinata nodded as Naruto did the shadow clone jutsu hand signs. It was then 20 Narutos came out and cracked their knuckles. Meanwhile, the Hokage had seen it all through the crystal ball. He had saw how it was nice day until near the end. He sighed softly knowing Naruto and Hinata were safe. He then heard the door open. It was Sophia. She bowed and said, Hokage-sama, it is time. The Hokage nodded as he got up and set out with Sophia to the spot where Naruto and Hinata were. Back to Naruto and Hinata. Naruto smirked to himself as they tied up the man to a tree. He was beaten badly and was knocked out from Naruto's hits. Naruto smiled as Hinata said, you okay? What? Of course Hinata-chan, this is nothing, Naruto said as he lied about the pain in his back. Hinata said, you're lying. No, I'm not. Naruto said with a sweat drop as he took a step back as she glared a bit at him. It was then Naruto felt his head get lighter, his body failing, and his breathing slowing. Naruto felt his legs give out and as he fell and passed out from blood loss, he heard the yell of his friend Naruto. Hinata rushed to his side as Naruto fell to the ground. As soon as she got over to him, she saw he was in a deep sleep. She put her hands to his face and said with a frantic voice, Naruto. Naruto! Please wake up. Nothing was her response. She looked around and thought, I need to get him back to the village and to the hospital. But how? I can't carry him all the way. It was then she heard footsteps behind her. She looked back and saw the Hokage and the woman they met in the shop. Hokage-sama! Hinata yelled out in surprise as she got up, wondering where or how did he get here. She looked at the woman who said, Hokage-sama, we need to patch up these wounds fast. You're right. The Hokage said and nodded as he pulled out a scroll and undoing the jutsu he had on it. In his hands instead of the scroll was a medical kit. Hinata looked and said, I'll do it. I've been reading some medical books in the library ever since I was 5 years old. The Hokage was a little shocked. She was not blushing or stuttering this time, but was more amazed by the fast she was ordering that sentence out. He nodded and handed her the medical kit. She nodded also and started to help Naruto. After a while, she was able to get bandages on and around him, somewhere near his head, somewhere on the wounds on his back. While she tied the last bandage around his back, she heard the woman say, you were hit. Hinata looked up and blinked before looking back down to her arm that was still a little bit bleeding. She smiled and said, it's nothing too bad, I'll be okay. The woman was silent for a bit before saying as Hinata laid the sleeping blonde on the ground on his back. I see now why you are the key to awaken his power. Hinata stopped and looked back and asked, what? Key? Just then Hinata heard the woman say words in a different language and then flicked Hinata on the head with her index finger. The Hokage saw Hinata's eyes go dark, and they started to haze before they closed as she fell to the floor next to Naruto. Hinata didn't know what was happening until her world got dark. Meanwhile, Hinata woke up hearing drips of water in a long hallway. As she opened her eyes, she saw she was in a sewer-like area. She looked around in wonder, and she was also frightened. It was then she heard something at the end of the tunnel of darkness. She gulped as she started to walk over to where the voices was talking. As she passed doors and more doors, she saw some of them were pitch black and only a few were light pink. As she was going to end of the long hallway, she noticed more and more doors were light pink. Wondering what it was, she opened one door, and she saw two people talking to each other as she went inside the door. Just then she found herself in the ramen shop. She looked and saw herself and Naruto sitting at the counter of the bar talking. She remembered this day. It was the day they first went out. She heard A/N. This was in chapter 2. So Naruto, is that your girlfriend? I am asked with a snicker from behind the counter. Naruto, who was eating nearly choked on his noodles, Hinata blushed more deeply than ever before. Girlfriend? Naruto chalked out, I am. What do you mean? Hinata-chan isn't, Naruto tried to say, but I am said with a grin. Hinata, huh? That's a nice name. Doesn't that name mean a sunny place? She was asking Hinata, who looked up and blushed more before nodding and looking down. That's cool. I am smiled more with a grin. She saw Hinata blush more and Naruto looked away blushing. Ayame loved messing with Naruto, it was always fun. Hinata still blushed when Ayame thought she was Naruto's girlfriend, but she laughed, it was kind of funny. The memory ended as soon as it began, and soon she found herself in the hallway again. Hinata looked around before noticing the voices were yelling at each other now. It was then she heard one voice she knew, "You stupid fox." Hinata's eyes widened and muttered under her breath, "Naruto-kun?" She rushed off to the end of the hallway. She passed doors and more doors, and as soon as she got to the end she saw a cage that Naruto was staring at. He was mad also. In the cage was two bright red eyes. They were huge and so was the fox the eyes belonged to. The fox spoke and said, "Brat, how dare you speak to me like that?" "Naruto," Hinata said. Naruto gasped as he heard her voice and he looked back. "Hinata-chan? What are you doing here?" Naruto asked out in wonder. Meanwhile, "Hokage-sama, may I send a message to Lord Fukai and Lady Kana?" asked Sophia as she looked at Naruto, and then to Hinata. The Hokage nodded and said, "You may, Sophia. After all, didn't they tell you to contact them once you found their grandson? And when his power awakens?" Sophia smiled and said, "Yes, I just wish Kushina and Minato was here to see him. They would have been proud and happy to know their son's ki was a Hyuga." "By the way, how are they doing?" the Hokage asked in wonder. Sophia shook her head. "They still have not awakened yet, they are okay. It's just their souls have not been found yet. It is like something is keeping them in the human world and they cannot find their bodies," Sophia said. She looked at the Hokage, who said, "I was surprised when I saw them both again. I thought for sure Minato died when the Kyuubi attacked and Kushina died when she gave birth, but I wonder why wasn't I told this years ago instead a few months ago." Sophia smiled and said, "We were making sure their son was alive. We didn't want to make a mistake, besides it takes more than death to keep the Kushina Uzumaki from living. And Minato, he's just stubborn so he can't die yet." The Hokage smiled and nodded. It was true, not even death can keep Kushina from living and Minato was stubborn. "I hope you can find their souls soon. I bet Naruto will be happy to know his mother and father are alive. And to know about his family," the Hokage said as Sophia nodded. Yes, but a body without a soul is just an empty shell, and a soul without a body cannot be real." Back to Naruto and Hinata. "Naruto-kun, what is that?" Hinata asked as she pointed to the big fox with the red eyes. She noticed the fox was behind a gate with a seal on the door. She noticed they were safe, because the seal was holding back the fox as far as she could see. Naruto looked at her before asking, "How did you get here?" Hinata blinked but answered, "I was going to run you to the hospital when you passed out, but then the Hokage came out, and so did that woman we met at the store. What was it called? Dreams of the Moon? But anyway, the Hokage had a scroll with a medical kit inside. I told him I was going to help you since I've been reading medical books since I was 5. When I was done, I was going to talk to the Hokage, but that woman said something about me being a ki. And then she flicked me with her finger on my forehead, and that's all I remember before waking up and coming here from that hallway." "Wait, dreams of the moon? Ki? It can't be." Kyuubi thought in wonder. Naruto blinked before hearing Kyuubi say, "Tell me, child, did this woman have one eye yellow and the other silver?" Hinata looked at the big fox before nodding with a little fear in her. She didn't know what to say when the fox talked to her. "I see, so Sophia Uzumaki is still alive. Good." Kyuubi had muttered the good part, but Naruto and Hinata looked at him with wide eyes. "Sophia Uzumaki?" Naruto looked at Kyuubi before saying, "Uzumaki? Does that mean?" The Kyuubi looked down before noticing something about the boy. This boy looked just like him, just like the man that sealed him away. He looked and saw something else. The boy's eyes, they had little fear and hid hurts of his past, but there was much strength and courage, something he had only seen once in the eyes of his best friend. The one that trusted him, and the one that showed him the way out of darkness, and the one that hooked him up with her older sister Toki. Kyuubi asked, "What is your name, boy?" Naruto was shocked at the sudden question and the fact Kyuubi didn't call him brat. I mean, ever since Naruto woke up in his mind, Kyuubi called him brat. "Naruto Uzumaki," Naruto said with little fear. The Kyuubi went down in the cage and met Naruto eye to eye. He smelled him before gasping a bit. "You smell like her. You smell like her so much. The scent of forest and strawberries. You must be her kid. It is only way you can smell and have the same courage in your eyes like she did, and you must be his kid too. It's the only way you can look like him." The Kyuubi spoke with a hint of relief, wonder, and was it happiness? Naruto and Hinata was wondering what the hell was the fox talking about. Who was he talking about? Who did Naruto remind Kyuubi of? Hinata, wanting to know who the fox was, spoke with little fear, "I'm sorry, but who are you?" Naruto's eyes widened. He didn't want her to know. He didn't want her to see him as a monster. As he was going to say something, Kyuubi spoke, "I am the one who attacked your village 12 years ago. Hyuga, I am Kyuubi the fox demon." Naruto heard Hinata take a step back, and he saw her eyes with fear. "How, you're dead? The fourth Hokage killed you. How are you alive?" Hinata almost yelled out with fear of the fox demon she had heard stories of. The Kyuubi chuckled before saying, "Really, is that what people think had happened? That I died?" "Kyuubi, shut up, or I'll kill you, you furball!" Naruto yelled out in anger. "Oh really, brat? How do you plan on doing so? I'm sealed away in this cage. Kyubi chuckled a bit but at the same time mad that he called him furball. Naruto-kun, where are we? How can he be here? Hinata asked. She was also fearing for Naruto's life for calling the Kyubi a furball. Naruto turned to her, with a sadness look in his eyes but hide it. He opened his mouth and wanted to say something but he didn't know what to say. What was he going to say? It was then words of the woman in the shop of dreams of the moon came to him. This is from chapter 4. You will tell someone close to your heart a deep secret soon. And that person shall be with you till the end of time no matter what. Naruto thought to himself, please God let that person be Hinata-chan, please. We are in my mind Hinata-chan, Naruto said with a sad smile. Hinata looked at him with wonder. How can the Kyubi be in his mind? Why was he sealed? Hinata-chan, there is something I need to tell you. You know the story of the fourth killing the Kyubi, right? Hinata nodded as Naruto said that. It was a lie. He didn't kill Kyubi because the fourth was strong but not strong enough to kill a demon. Instead he sealed Kyubi in something, and that something was a baby that was just born. A baby that only had less than 3 minutes of being a human before becoming a demon vessel. The fourth wanted the people of Konoha to see the baby as a hero that saved Konoha from being destroyed, but that never happened. Many of the villagers saw him as a demon, and only a small little bit of Konoha had saw him as a hero. And ever since then the baby has been living his life in hell. He was kicked out the orphanage when he was 4 years old. The third gave the child a place to live in an apartment even though he wanted to care for the child himself but couldn't because the elders of Konoha told him he wasn't able to. And the only thing the third could do for him was to watch over him. So the young boy lived his life each day trying to live from attacks from villagers and ninjas who hated him. He had no friends because since the older generation was told they were not to tell the younger generations of the boy with the Kyubi locked away, but they had told the younger ones he was not good to be with. Every day the older ones called him a demon, a monster, a murderer, a killer, even though the boy had no idea why he was always called that. That was until he was 12 and he was tricked by Mizuki to steal a scroll that the fourth Hokage made. A scroll with the shadow clone jutsu in it, Irika had found. The boy found out he was being used thanks to Irika's warning. But then Mizuki came and told the truth about why the boy was hated. The boy didn't want to believe this and ran away with the scroll. Irika and Mizuki went to find him. One wanted to keep him safe because he saw him as a hero, and the other wanted him dead so he can be a hero and killed the beast of Konoha. But Irika had stopped him. The boy heard how Irika's mom and dad died because of the fox demon, and asked why Irika wasn't mad at the boy. Irika said he was mad at the demon, but the boy was not the demon. Because of Irika's kindness the boy was happy that someone had cared. But when Mizuki tried to kill Irika the boy stepped in and stopped him. The boy had learned the shadow clone jutsu not long after he stole it, and did the shadow clone jutsu on Mizuki and kicked his ass. Irika was hurt, and when the boy was going to get him to the hospital Irika gave the boy his headband and made the boy a ninja who passed the test. So tell me Hinata-chan, do you know the little boy that Kyubi was sealed away in? A/N, longest thing I have ever wrote. Naruto said with a sad smile, but near the end his smile was a bit happy. Hinata had only nodded. She realized it, and everything made sense. Her mind was in sadness and anger. She was not mad at him, she mad at the villagers and Mizuki. How can they not see that Naruto was Naruto, not Kyubi? Her sadness came when she had realized why he had always saw the pain in his eyes but never told him she saw them. Why him of all people in this village? Why must he have this, she thought, but was pulled out of her thoughts when she heard Naruto say, so do you think of me as a monster? She looked up and saw Naruto almost about to cry. His hands were clutched because he had saw the anger in Hinata's eyes. She smiled a soft smile. I can never hate you, you're my best friend Naruto-kun. You are you, Kyubi is Kyubi, you're just two souls in one body, Hinata said. She saw Naruto look up at her in surprise, happiness, and relief. Naruto didn't know what to say but he rushed over and hugged Hinata. Hinata blushed as her best friend and Crush hugged her. She felt tears coming from him. She let out a smile and hugged him back and said Naruto-kun. She heard Naruto say thank you so much Naruto-kun, I promise to never let you have this sadness ever again. Hinata thought as Naruto thought, thank you Hinata-chan, I promise to protect you, I promise. As they broke the hug Naruto and Hinata smiled to each other. But stopped when they heard Kyubi say, child, I see why Sophia called you a key. What is your name? Hinata looked at him and said Hinata Hyuga, but can I ask you something? The Kyubi nodded. Why did you attack Konoha? Why did you do it? They saw the Kyubi's eyes grow sad with remorse, and said I never meant to. If I had my head in the right place I never would have. So why? Naruto asked this time, wondering why the great demon Kyubi was sad. Kyubi looked at Naruto before saying, when I was young I met a girl younger than I. This girl became my friend and I lived with her clan that didn't fear demons. There I met her older sister Toki and I fell in love. For a while I was scared to even tell her I liked her. That was until her sister, and her boyfriend, told her I liked her. And Toki told me she liked me. 2 years went by and I asked her hand in marriage and she said yes. We were happy, and when I found out I was going to have a kid, or as you humans call it, a baby, I was more than happy. Her clan was also happy, and we waited for the day the kid was going to be born. But we never had the chance, for on the day I returned from a mission given to me by the clan I found her dead in our home, and a man that smelt like snake stood over her, his hands on a sword with her blood. Smiling evilly in a blind rage I attacked him, and we fought until he ran to Konoha. I was so mad, I had no control over myself and I changed to this form of myself and I attacked trying to look for him. Konoha had attacked me, thinking I was attacking them, and we fought. I had forgotten why I was mad and went on a blind rampage in Konoha, and soon after I was sealed I blacked out, but not before hearing a baby cry and someone saying sorry. I then found myself in this cage, never knowing what's going on in the outside world, that is until now. Naruto and Hinata just looked at the fox demon in wonder. Who would do such a thing? That was until Kyuubi said, I will show you my true form, and then in a blinding light Kyuubi's shape changed to a smaller shape of a human. The shape soon cleared and out of the shadows of the cage came a man with long red hair, red eyes, dark whisker marks. He wore a red and black outfit. He also had 2 fox ears and 9 tails. He was handsome and tall. He said, this is what I really look like. Naruto and Hinata could only stare in wonder. The Kyuubi had just changed to a man. I mean, wouldn't you be surprised? Kyuubi, I'm sorry, Hinata tried to say. But Kyuubi smiled a sad and small smile before saying, hey, don't worry about it. I'm sure Toki-chan would be mad at me for not moving on. She was like that after all, even her younger sister was like that too. Naruto just looked at the Kyuubi and wanted to change the subject because he could see the sadness in the Kyuubi's eyes. You said something about why you knew why Hinata-chan was called a Ki? What did you mean by that? Naruto asked. Kyuubi looked at him and smiled a little soft smile as in thanking the blonde for changing the subject. And so did Hinata. You see, Naruto, you came from a clan with a bloodline, Kyuubi started to say. Naruto's eyes grew wide along with Hinata's. Your bloodline is named Hikari, a bloodline only for Uzumakis. This bloodline is more than one thing, it also is very hard to awaken, and only a Ki can awake the power on the night of the Mikazuki, Kyuubi said, as he saw their eyes grow more wide as they remembered the words on the stone tablet in their hideout. From Chapter 5. On the night of the Mikazuki, the Ki is revealed, and the Hikari bloodline can be awakened. Your bloodline has many powers. You are able to control animals and demon animals. You can speak through them to someone you must talk to. You can see through the animal's eyes. You can summon animals without hand signs. Not only that, but you can make weapons and infuse it with your chakra, and you can turn one weapon into any weapon of your wish. Your bloodline is rare, for it can also take away cursed seals. And your clan can melt themselves in the shadows of people, homes, trees, etc. Kyuubi said. Hinata raised her hand and Kyuubi nodded, meaning she may speak. Sorry for asking, but how do you know all this? The Kyuubi blinked before chuckling. The woman I loved was named Toki Uzumaki, firstborn of the leaders of the Uzumaki clan, and was leader of the clan when she was 14 years old. You see, the Uzumaki clan doesn't care if someone was human, half demon, or demon, for they believed if God wanted all of us to be the same, he would have made us. But he didn't, he made us different. Naruto thought if he loved the Uzumaki, then somehow I'm related to him. I wonder if he knew my mom or dad. As I was saying, Naruto, your bloodline is rare. Not many people had seen Uzumakis use their powers in battle, much less seen one. Uzumakis were said to be a myth, something not real. In order to know if it was a Uzumaki, they had a tattoo on their back with the Mikazuki on it. Hinata then cut, and then Naruto is a real one. I saw the tattoo when he fought off against the ninja from Kumogakure. Naruto looked at her and asked, what? Yeah, it's true, Naruto, and I saw it. When the barrier came out, Hinata said as she looked at him. Kyuubi chuckled and said, the barrier of hope. It's a barrier that can only be triggered when someone's loved one is in danger, and they wish for the person to be safe. When he said loved one, Naruto blushed, and so did Hinata. The Kyuubi chuckled again at this. This was funny. He took pity on them and said, as I was saying, the only way a Uzumaki can have their power unlocked is if the Ki did it. The Ki is someone who is chosen to awaken the bloodline. The Ki must be true and kind-hearted. The Ki is either a demon, half demon, or human, and I must say never before a Hyuga had ever been a Ki for a Uzumaki. You must be very special to be his Ki, really? Hinata asked in wonder. Kyuubi looked around and said, it's time, midnight of the Mikazuki. Hinata, do as I tell you. Take Naruto's hands and both of you look at each other. Naruto and Hinata blinked in confusion and wonder, what did he mean? But not wanting to anger Kyuubi, they did as they were told. As soon as she tooled his hands and they looked at each other, both of their bodies glowed like the moonlight. Outside. It's time, Sophia said as she saw Naruto and Hinata starting glow even though they were unconscious. The moonlight above them shined, making them glow brighter. Then a mass amount of chakra come out as a wave. The third looked with much surprise. This chakra was huge, even bigger than when Kushina's power woke up. That's when Sophia said, Hokage-sama, I think this power is coming from Hinata too. The third looked at her and wondered, what do you mean? Sophia then said, you remember how in the Byakugan there is a power that no one in the Hyuga family in 100 years had been able to unlock? Yes, the Hokage said, I think I finally understand why she was chosen. He needed to her as much as she needed him, Sophia said. Naruto held on to Hinata's hands, but a strong gust of wind blew as hard as it could. Naruto! Hinata yelled out as their hands were losing grip on each other. Hinata! Naruto yelled out as his right hand had let go, but they were still holding on with their left, and they started to lift off the ground. They were losing grip and the wind blew harder this time. Naruto! What's happening? Hinata yelled out, I don't know. Hinata-chan, hold on. Naruto yelled out as their hands were about to let go. A bright light shot out and they both closed their eyes. With Naruto. Where am I? Naruto asked to himself. He opened his eyes and saw he was in a dark area and he was floating in it. Where is this? Where's Hinata-chan? He floated around trying to find out where he was. Just then he heard a soft voice say Naruto. He turned and saw two people in the room. One was a woman with red hair and blue eyes. She had a happy smile that was soft and warm. The person next to her was a man with yellow spiky hair and blue eyes. He looked a lot like the fourth Hokage. Who are you? Naruto asked out. He heard the woman chuckle, a soft chuckle that sounded familiar to him. It was then he noticed something about them. They looked just like those people he ran into on his birthday, the people that didn't yell at him when he bumped into them, the people he followed to the hideout. Naruto, dear, I'm your mother, the woman said. Naruto's eyes widened. My mother? He asked out. The woman nodded and said, yes, dear. My name is Kushina Uzumaki, second born of the Uzumaki clan leaders Kana Uzumaki and Fukai Uzumaki, and little sister of Toki Uzumaki. Naruto looked wide-eyed and said, the Kushina Uzumaki, also known as Red Whirlpool. Kushina nodded. Naruto remembered in class that a woman named Kushina Uzumaki aka Red Whirlpool stopped 3 wars at once. How just by her smile can melt any frozen heart, how her laughter made others laugh, how she was stronger than any female in the village. Naruto thought it was just weird how his and her last name was the same, but thought nothing of it, since they didn't look the same at all. He thought the reason he had the last name was just something someone gave him. The man smiled and said in Naruto, I'm your father. Naruto looked at the man, his eyes and wide. My name is Minato Namikaze, or otherwise known as the fourth Hokage of Konoha, Minato said with a grin almost like Naruto's grin. Naruto felt like he was going to have a heart attack. You're my dad? The Minato Namikaze who is Konoha's yellow flash, and the fourth Hokage. Naruto yelled out. He nodded. Naruto felt like his mind going in overload. He stopped and looked at his mother and said, you said you were little sister of Toki Uzumaki, right? Then that means Kyuubi's your uncle? Yes, he is, and the rest of the clan is alive also, Kushina said with a nod. Naruto at first was quiet and small tears started to fall off his cheeks. Minato and Kushina looked at each other in wonder. I have family all this time. I thought I was, Naruto tried saying, but his tears started to get in the way. Kushina floated over and hugged her son. Naruto felt a hug and it felt nice. Naruto, I'm so sorry. Naruto heard his mother say, why are you sorry? Naruto asked out. Kushina gave a soft sad smile and said, I should have been there for you, to protect you. Our clan should have been there to protect you too. But they didn't know I had you that night. They didn't know if you were alive. They thought you died after Kyuubi attacked. She hugged him once more, crying. Naruto smiled a soft smile and said, it's okay mom. Kushina's eyes widened a bit, but soon they started to fill up with tears again, and they were happy she was called mom. She smiled as she hugged him still. Kushina, I don't think he can breathe, Minato voiced out as he saw his son turn purple. Kushina blinked and let go of Naruto, who was finally able to breathe again. Oops, sorry Naruto, Kushina said with a nervous laugh. It's okay, Naruto said, taking some air in. Naruto looked at his father, and Minato thought for sure his son was mad. Heck, I'll be mad too if my dad sealed a demon who was my uncle and me, Minato thought, but then he heard, why isn't my last name Namikaze if I am your kid? Naruto asked out. I wasn't expecting that, Minato thought, but still answered, well, since I was the only one of the Namikaze who survived the attack on us, I had many enemies after me because the Namikaze had learned and made many just as only we knew. As I grew up I learned how to fight back. I met your mother when she joined my team one day. At first I thought she was going to be one of those girls that joined for a boy, but Kushina then cut and I joined to show the whole world that women can beat men. She smiled out, but Minato then said, as I was saying, she was different. Soon I fell in love with her, and that caused a bit more problems for me cause there was a lot of boys that fell in love with Kushina. But in the end she said yes to me when I asked her out, and we started to date. But anyway, I was happy when I found out she was going to have a child. My child, me and her got married in secret because I wanted to surprise Konoha the best way I could. That and I would be killed if any of the guys found out. Anyway, I knew that if anyone found out you're my son, they would try to hurt you, no matter what. After Kyuubi attacked, I asked the third to change your name to Uzumaki until the day you found out, or Minato stopped but continued. But yeah, I wanted your name to be Uzumaki to protect you, Naruto, and I'm sorry, Minato said. Naruto looked at his father confused. What are you sorry for? Naruto asked, and Minato blinked. Aren't you mad that I sealed Kyuubi in you and that made your life a living hell? Minato asked out. What? No, Naruto said as he looked at his dad like he was crazy. Dad, it was something you had to do to protect Konoha. Why would I be mad about that? Naruto said. Minato blinked and was going to say something, but Kushina said, well, Looks like he is your son Minato. He forgives people just like you do. Kushina gave a chuckle once more. Minato blinked and smiled. Naruto, there is something you must know, Kushina said as she floated back to Minato. We are always with you, and always know that you're never alone. You have Hinata with you also, she'll never leave you. Naruto saw a strange light around his mother and father who smiled at him. Naruto shielded his eyes and then nothing. Meanwhile with Hinata. Naruto-kun, where Hinata woke up in a strange place. She floated about in the dark room. Where am I? Where's Naruto-kun? She asked out, then she heard a voice that made her gasp and her eyes were wide, always asking questions. Same old Hinata-chan, but you're not blushing anymore. It was a voice she had not heard in a long time. The voice chuckled a soft chuckle that was so familiar to her. Hinata looked back and saw someone she had never thought to see in years. It was a female Hyuga. She had long bluish hair that was tied up. She wore the Konoha leaf on her neck. She was about her father's age, and she was very beautiful. She wore a dark blue ninja shirt and black pants. Hinata's eyes were wide and one word came to her: mommy. The woman smiled and said, it's good to see you again, Hinata, but how? Dad said you were on a mission when you went missing? Hinata asked in wonder. Hinata, I am just a part of a justo I placed on you before I left. The reason why was because I knew you would be the one with it. Kasumi said it. What's it? Hinata asked. It is the strongest Hyuga power we have. We all have it, Hinata, but we could never unlock it. But you on the hand can, Kasumi said with a smile. What? Me? Hinata asked out. Yes, Hinata, you can unlock the hidden power of the Hyuga clan and use it as you please, Kasumi said. But how? Dad and the elders said I have the weakest eye in the entire. Hinata was cut off and she saw her mother yell, Hinata Hyuga, I have taught you better than Tio. Allow yourself, Tio. Listen, Tio, what other people say about you. You alone can choose your roads. Don't you dare listen to what other people say about you. Do you understand? Kasumi said with a rant. Hinata blinked and nodded fast. Sometimes her mother scared her. Sorry, I just lost my cool for a second, but anyway, Hinata, you do have the power of the Hyuga clan, and no matter what your father and the elders say anything otherwise, remember, never give up. Never go back on your words, and never, ever lose hope, Kasumi said with a smile, as she started to fade away. Mom? Hinata asked out as she saw a bright light starting. And Hinata, honey, remember, I will always love you, and you are never alone. You have Naruto-kun with you, Kasumi said with a smile before the light shone brighter. Hinata had to shield her eyes. Outside. Naruto woken up to the twilight-colored sky. He saw through the hole above his hideout. He blinked for a few moments. How long was he out? He's awake, said a female voice. Naruto got up and saw the woman he saw in the dreams of the moon shop sitting near an apple tree with the third Hokage. Just then Naruto felt like someone attacked him. He turned and saw white eyes. Hinata-chan. Naruto said in surprise. You're awake. Hinata said happily. Hinata then realized she was hugging her crush. She let go and turned away with a blush on her face. Sorry, I wasn't, she tried saying, but heard. It's okay, Hinata-chan, I like your hugs. Hinata looked at him and then blushed brighter. Isn't that cute, said the woman sitting next to the Hokage, who chuckled at them. Naruto and Hinata looked at them before Naruto said to her, you must be Sophia Uzumaki. Sophia smiled and nodded before saying, yes, I am the Hokage. Then said Naruto, you must be wondering what has happened, so let's sit down and talk about it, about your clan, and about your mother and father. Same with you, Hinata, you must be wondering what happened also. Naruto and Hinata nodded. They wanted to know all, even though they halfway understood. The Hokage started to tell the story of the Uzumaki clan. Meanwhile, Grandmother Kana, Grandfather Fukai, Sophia's summoned wolf has been seen at the gates with this, said a girl with long red hair and red eyes. She had a kimono that was red. She looked about 12 years old. She held a scroll in her hand. She gave it to a woman with red hair and green eyes. The man next to her had brown hair and blue eyes. The woman named Kana opened the scroll and started to read. Around all of them were many people with red, brown, or black eyes and hair. They all looked confused to what the scroll had inside. It must be important if Sophia had summoned her wolf demon. They saw Kana smile, a soft smile that they had hardly seen in years. The young with red hair looked at her grandmother and asked, Grandma, what does it say? Kana handed the scroll to her husband and his eyes widened at this. Kana stood and spoke. Everyone, we are going to Konoha. The people in the room started to mutter why and other things. Grandma, why? Asked the girl once more, hoping this time to get an answer. Because Suki, we just found your cousin. He's alive. In other words, Kushina's and Minato's son is alive. And his powers have awoken. Kana said as people started to talk louder this time, and the girl named Suki stood and smiled. Her cousin was alive. A/N. Just to let you know if you're confused, they found Minato after he sealed Kyuubi in Naruto. Naruto was already with the third, so they didn't know he was alive and was with the third when they went to the hospital to take Kushina. They thought he was killed during the Kyuubi attack. Also, they have no idea that Kyuubi is sealed in Naruto. Back to Naruto and Hinata. The third had told the truth of it all, How he knew all along that Naruto was the son of the Red Whirlpool and Yellow Flash. Hinata was surprised about that, no doubt about that. She looked at Naruto and thought, and just when I thought you couldn't get any cooler, Naruto-kun. When the third told the story of the hidden power of the Hyuga clan, Naruto thought, wow, Hinata-chan. With that power you can change things in your clan for sure. Naruto-san, there is something you must see, Sophia said. Naruto looked at her. They all got up as she said follow me. They did. They followed her out of the hideout and they made their way to village, but soon stopped at two big trees right in the middle of the forest, close to the cave of the hideout, and close to the village. Sophia raised her hand and she said release. As she said those words a strange thing happened. Out of the blue, almost like magic, came a house. But this house was huge, like a mansion. Hinata saw this place, and it was almost bigger than the Hyuga house. What is this place? Hinata asked out. Sophia said this house was made for Naruto's mother and father. This was going to be their home when a new clan started. This house belongs to you, Naruto. It holds all of your clan scrolls, and your father's justice he made. It may need a little cleaning up and repairing, but nothing too bad. There are a few rooms for guests and friends, a library, a hot springs, a weapon room, a garden room, a music room, main room, a kitchen, and others. Naruto looked at this house. This was his place, his home. Naruto heard the third say you can move into this place anytime you wish. Naruto nodded and said thanks. Naruto then noticed the time. Hinata-chan, we better get you home before your dad finds out. Naruto yelled out. Hinata smacked her head. How could she forget the time? Sorry, old man. Sophia, I better get Hinata-chan home. Naruto said as he started to run off, taking Hinata's hand. Sophia smiled and yelled out, I'll be here. Waiting. The third yelled out, I'll make sure your teams have no missions today. Naruto smiled and Hinata smiled as they ran all the way to the Hyuga home. Later. Naruto and Hinata made it. They snuck to her window. Hinata opened the window and jumped inside, landing on her bed in front of the window. Hinata turned to the window and said, wow, today was weird? Naruto said as Hinata nodded, it's hard to believe that I have a power that no one had in over 100 years ago, she said. Naruto smiled and said, I don't find it hard. You're a good person, Hinata. You're worthy of that power. Hinata blushed again. Naruto laughed and said, you know, if I move into that place it would be pretty lonely, Hinata-chan, so I was wondering if maybe you want to move in. You know, if your clan is ticking you off, or something, you can if you want to. Hinata blushed and smiled. Maybe she heard footsteps coming down the hall. She turned to Naruto and said, you better get going, I think it's my dad. Bye, Hinata-chan, Naruto said before leaning into the window and kissing her on the cheek and tuning off. Hinata stood there frozen in her spot, her face brighter than before. She fainted and fell on her bed. The door opened and it was Hayashi. He blinked in wonder if his daughter came home last night, or did she just come back now? Naruto's turns. He's back home, by the way. Naruto closed his door and slid down the wall he had his back to. He touched his lips in wonder what the heck made him do that. He really hoped Hinata-chan didn't hate him for kissing her, but something in his mind told him she liked the kiss. He made his way to his bed and fell asleep. A month had come since that day, the day his bloodline had awoken, the day her lost power of her bloodline woke up, the day he talked to his mother and father, the day she talked to her mother, the day he found out his clan was alive, the day she found out of her power, and the day he kissed her cheek. Naruto had moved into his home with his family member Sophia Uzumaki. He moved out of his old apartment and had a room near the end of the house. It was near the room that was for his parents, and the main room. His room was big and nice even though no one had been in it for 12 years. He cleaned up the room and started repairing the house with the help of Sophia. Hinata had not mentioned the kiss to him or asked him why, but she didn't mind. She did though like it, but she thought it was a friend kiss, not a boyfriend to girlfriend kiss. She had a lot of fun talking to Sophia, who told and taught Hinata a lot of medical things. When Hinata found out Sophia was one of the many medical ninjas of the Uzumaki clan. And speaking of Hinata, let's check in with her now. Hinata happily made her way around her home. Sure, she wanted to move in with Naruto, but she knew her father and the clan elders would be after her in a heartbeat. As she started to think of new battle moves, she heard her sister say, Hinata, father and the elders want to speak to you. Hinata sighed. What did her father and those stupid elders want with her? Okay man, I was on a roll, Hinata muttered while her sister looked at Hinata in wonder. Hinata opened the door to the main room where meeting were held. She saw some of the elders in a line and her father was in the middle. Hinata, sit high, she said, and she did. Hinata looked at the elders and knew something bad was going to happen. Hinata, we had heard from some of the villagers that you have been hanging out with Naruto Uzumaki for the past 2 months or so. Is this true? Asked one elder. Hinata raised an eyebrow. What did he have to do with this? But she still answered anyway, yes, it's true. One elder then said, Hinata, we do not want you to be seen with that thing. If you continue to hang around that monster, then the good name of the Hyuga clan will be damaged forever. Hinata's eyes narrowed and an anger mark come on her head. What? Yelled out inner Hinata. Really? Hinata said, holding back her anger. Yes, Hinata. That boy is not a boy, he's nothing more than a monster, said the same Hyuga. The anger mark got bigger on Hinata's head. She then started to hear someone else on the far left whispering to another person, I don't see why we just can't kick her out. I mean, after all, she's the most weakest. Hyuga. The anger mark grew high as she sighed. He didn't want the elders to take away the bond Naruto and Hinata had. He was very happy that his daughter wasn't like other people in the village who stay clear away from Naruto. He was one of the very few that did not want to kill Naruto when he was a baby. But of course the elders wanted to stop Hinata and Naruto from being friends, and he had to go through with it. You know, Naruto-kun isn't a monster, Hinata said with a little anger in her voice. A Hyuga stood and said, Hinata, if you knew what that boy held inside him, then you'll understand that he is nothing but a murderer. This time the anger mark was at full max. Hinata, that boy is nothing but a no good, evil, demonic, good for nothing. Mon the elder was cut off, but Hinata, who stood up and yelled really loud. Shut your goddamn mouth, bastard. Naruto Uzumaki is a good person who will do anything to protect anyone, even if he meet them 2 seconds ago. He's a kind boy who never gives up and never goes back on his words. He is not a monster or a killer or a murderer. He's a boy with goodness and kindness inside him, and if you knew anything about him, he is not what you think he is. So if I was you, I would not say one more bad thing about him. The elder that was standing fell to the ground, and almost all the others were in a little fear, and Hayashi eyes were wide. Never before did anyone ever hear Hinata yell this loud. Some Hyugas who were passing by the door had heard her yell at them. One was Niji. Hinata glared at them and said, oh, and I know what he holds inside him, and for the record, he isn't what you think he is. Hinata was about to turn, but then an elder stood and took her arm and said, Hinata, if you leave right now, consider yourself banned. Hinata turned and said, you know what, I don't care, but know this, I will be back to become leader. I may not be leader for long, but I will be, and once I am, I'll take off all those goddamn seals you have on every branch member, and when I'm done, I'll make sure this clan gets an attitude adjustment about how we treat other people with respect, and once that's over, I'll give up being leader and give it to someone who needs and deserves it. She spat at him. The elder said, Hinata, think about, you know what I am thinking. I'm thinking about how I'm going to kick your no good motherfucking ass if you don't let go of my arm. Hinata yelled out to the man. Hinata! Yelled a female elder. That was it, the man still had not let go, and she had warned him. Her eyes were completely with a lot of rage. Hinata then noticed something. Near the Hyuga elder that had her arm, neck was 3 different colored glowing dots. One was yellow, one was blue, one was red. Hinata was getting more pissed off, so she raised her other hand and hit the yellow dot. The elder's arms and legs suddenly went weird, and he made his body into a weird shape. He then went stiff. He fell to the floor, his eyes wide and his body in a weird way. Some elders rushed over while others just stared at Hinata wide eyes. He's frozen stiff, yelled the female elder as she looked at the other elder. Hinata sent a glare before walking away in a huff and opening the door and slamming it shut. Hayashi eyes were wide with wonder. Hinata went to her room muttering, goddamned elders, trying to tell me who I can and cannot hang out with stupid bastards. That's it, I'm moving out and I know who to go to. She started to pack. Meanwhile, achoo! Naruto sneezed as fell off the yellow circus ball he was standing on. Sophia blinked in confusion. This was like 10 sneezes today. Maybe he was getting a cold? She sighed and said, Naruto, let's take a break. You have been working on the circus ball just for 5 hours. Back to Hinata, and later that night, Hinata was almost done packing all of her things. She had called not long ago to Kiba and Shino, and they were going to be there any moment to help her move her things. They asked where she was moving to, but she didn't tell them, at least not yet. She had already sent a letter to Sophia and Naruto. They were cleaning a room for her. She had also told the Hokage what happened, and he laughed about the Hyuga elder getting his ass kicked. Hinata heard someone at her window. She opened it. She saw Kiba, plus Akamaru and Shino standing in the darkness of outside. She smiled and said, thanks for coming, guys. They smiled too, and Hinata started to give them some of her bags. Kiba then asked, so what made you want to leave? Hinata then said with a hint of anger, they were talking stuff about me and Naruto. I just couldn't take it anymore. Shino and Kiba looked at each with a small smile. They had gotten used to the idea of Hinata hanging out with Naruto, and they liked the fact that Hinata was getting stronger, and they were happy that she didn't stutter or blush so much anymore. So what you do? Kiba asked. Hinata stopped and muttered it while looking away. Kiba was wondering big time what was that. He asked, trying to hear, and so was Akamaru. Hinata looked back and said, I hit an elder, and he was then frozen stiff on the ground. It took 3 hours to get him unstuck. Kiba started to laugh at this. So did Akamaru, and Shino wondered a lot on how she did that. Alright, here you go, she said as she passed 2 of the last bags to Kiba and Shino, who nodded and took it. Hinata was about to get the last one, but then she saw something laying on top of this bag that wasn't there before. It was a scroll and a letter. She opened the letter. It read, Dear Hinata. Hinata, I tried my best after Kasumi disappeared that day to raise you right. I guess I forgot how and only listened to the elders. I'm sorry if I pushed you so hard and didn't know I was hurting you. If you are reading this, then good luck on your way to become great. I'll try to raise Hanabi better. If you wish to leave, then you may go. And don't worry about the elders, I'll try to keep them off your back. Oh, and say hello to Naruto for me. Hinata, I am very sorry for all I done, and please at least send me some letters from time to time. Also, the scroll under this letter is something passed down from Hyuga leader to leader. This scroll tells about the power no one has awakened in 100 years, but it seems like you have. Have fun and please come back to visit if you wish, and I'm proud of you. Good luck, Hinata. From your father. P.S. Tell Naruto if I find out he has done something bad to you, I will kill him. Hinata's eyes widened at this, and then she looked to the scroll. She smiled as small tears fell from her face. She said, I love you, Dad. Goodbye. She then took the bag, the scroll and letter and jumped out the window and started to run to Naruto's house. Unknowing to her, he was outside her door and smiled before saying goodbye. Hinata. To Naruto. Naruto was done with repairs for today, and he was beat. He laid on his bed and looked around his room. It was bigger than his apartment, and it held a lot of this in it: scrolls, books, weapons, and other things. He looked at his ceiling as his mind replayed all the way to that day when she asked him. None of this would have happened if Hinata-chan didn't ask me, he thought before smiling. He stopped when he saw a fox on his windowsill. It was Luna, Sophia's summoned fox. It spoke in Sophia's voice, Naruto-kun, she's here with her team. Naruto nodded and said K. He got up and ran to the front of house that was covered in fog. He heard, what is this place? Hinata yelled Kiba in wonder. I wonder who lives here, Shino said in wonder. He then saw two people coming to them. One was woman about 20 to 23 and a boy around their age coming over to them. They looked hard and long because it was so dark outside. They saw the woman smiling and she said, Hinata-chan, nice to see you again. It's nice to see you too, Sophia-san, Hinata said with a smile, but then Sophia said, Hinata-chan, please just call me Sophia, no need to be formal. Kiba then asked in wonder, Hinata, you know her? Hinata nodded and said, she's the one who's letting me live with her along with someone else. Who? Shino asked, but then heard, hey Shino, hey Kiba. They saw Naruto coming out of the fog. Sorry about the fog, it's supposed to confuse people if they get too close to my house, he said with his grin. Naruto, you live here? Kiba asked in wonder how his friend and prankster buddy get the house. Yeah, come on you guys, Naruto said as he walked them to the entrance. When they all got into the house, they were in the entranceway that was a box shape. They saw 3 hallways, one was in front of them, one was on the left side, and one went right. Naruto led them down the one in front of them. They passed a lot of doors. Kiba got to wondering about one door, and when he opened it he saw a very big room filled with books, scrolls, and other things. It was like a library in that room. It went 2 stories. He nearly fainted with thinking what these books held in them. Thankfully Akamaru braked, and Shino came to drag the poor foaming boy by the collar. They got to the middle of the house that was in the shape of a circle that went 4 ways, left, right, forward, and backward, but they still went the same way. Naruto stopped when they reached the end of the hallway and opened the screen door in front of them. They saw themselves in a big room, maybe for meetings, parties, and other things. There were 4 doors, the one they came through, one in front of them, one to the right and one to the left. Naruto smiled and said, make yourself at home, I will put Hinata's things in her new room, okay? Naruto then took some of Hinata's things from Kiba and Shino, and he walked out of the right door that entered a hallway. Sophia smiled and said, he's so happy that he has someone else than me living here. Sophia, why do you say that? Hinata asked. Sophia smiled and said, he's a boy, he needs someone around his age and not a old hag. Sophia-san, you're not old, you don't look a day over 20, Kiba said to the woman. Sophia blinked before starting to laugh with a blush and smile. She said, my, do I really? Shino asked, how old are you then? Sophia winked and said, 59 years old boy, turning 60 next month. This made Shino blink and Kiba cough. What? Kiba yelled out. Just then Naruto walked in and said, yeah, she's really 59. Uzumakis for some reason love honey, and because honey is good for skin they eat a lot of it. Plus they add some in drinks. Kiba blinked as Shino asked, she's a Uzumaki? As in related to you? Yup, I'll like you both to meet Sophia Uzumaki, best medical ninja in the whole clan, Naruto said with glee as Sophia said, no, not anymore, I retired long ago. But you're still the best, Naruto said with a grin. He then heard Kiba ask Naruto, how did you get this place? Naruto smiled and said with a grin, that dog breath is something I can't tell, at least not yet. What, you call me Uzumaki? Kiba yelled in little anger, you heard me, dog breath. They both got up and glared at each other while lighting started to connect with each other's eyes. Now, no need to fight, Sophia said, stepping into the middle of them both as they turned and huffed at each other, but they couldn't help but smile at their childish game. After a while they chatted, but Shino and Kiba said they had to leave before their parents got worried. As Hinata said goodbye to her teammates at the gates of the house, she turned and left with Sophia to look at her new room. Naruto smiled and was about to say goodbye, but then Kiba said, hey dead last. Kiba started to say, ya dog breath. Naruto asked, take care of her, okay? And if you or anyone else hurt her in any way, me and Akamaru will make your life a living hell, understand? Kiba said with a glint in his eyes, meaning he wasn't kidding about it. Naruto smiled a grin and said, "Don't worry, Kiba. She's my friend and I won't let anything happen to her." Kiba nodded and started to walk back to the village with Akamaru, who barked by. Shino stood there and looked at Naruto before saying, "Naruto, you are holding a lot of secrets, and I have no doubt that Hinata knows about them. Maybe one day you will tell me and Kiba about it. But please continue with keeping Hinata-chan happy, and also thank you for all you have done for her." Before Naruto could say anything, Shino had left. What did Shino mean by for all he had done for her? I will never understand those guys, Naruto thought before going inside and reputing up the fog. Meanwhile, "Okay, Suki, if we leave now we should get there by the starting rounds of the Chunin exams. And the rest of the clan should get there by the last rounds of the exams." Smiled a woman with red hair and green eyes. She was about in her late 20s and was very beautiful. If you could look at her neck you could see a slash on it, meaning someone had tried to kill her with a sword or something. Suki looked at her and said, "Mother, can I ask you something?" The woman named Toki blinked in wonder what her daughter had to say. What was Auntie Kushina and Uncle Minato like? "And what do you think Cousin Naruto will be like?" asked Suki in wonder. She had only heard a few things from the clan and her mother, since it was painful to remember the smiles and happiness Kushina and Minato brought to the family, and they couldn't do anything to awaken them from their slumber at all. Toki looked at her for a while before smiling and saying Minato was great, a true ninja and a man with honor and greatness. Always able to lead a group of people, very smart, and he had a lot of fangirls after him. He was a bit bossy though, and he loved ramen as much as Kushina did. As for Kushina, she was always hyper and happy. She never liked rules and she was such a tomboy, always wanted to prove herself, but what she lacked in smarts she made up in bravery. You could not trust anyone like you could Kushina. She never backed down or went down. As for their son, I think he'll be just like them. Maybe he'll love ramen just like his mother and father, she said. Just then someone burst into the room. She was a Uzumaki also. She said as fast as she could, "That ninja we found years ago in the forest is waking up." The two stood up and said, "Really?" They raced to the hospital room of the home as fast as they could. They opened the door and saw a woman with long blue hair and white eyes staring at them. She said, "Where am I? And who are you?" "My name is Toki and this is my daughter Suki." "What's your name?" asked Toki in wonder. The woman blinked and said, "My name is Kasumi Hyuga." 1 month later. Naruto looked at Hinata and asked, "The Chunin exams? What do you mean it's in a week?" Hinata then said, "You mean you don't know? Didn't Kakashi tell you?" As she ate a piece of rice that Sophia made, Naruto, Sophia, and Hinata were eating in the main room, where last month Kiba and Shino had sat in. Naruto was surprised that the exams was in a week. No, Kakashi-sensei said nothing about it. Hinata had to go on a mission last week and she returned today telling Naruto at dinner about the Chunin exams. "You know, kid, I wonder a lot about your teacher," Sophia said as she remembered how she met him a few weeks ago. Flashback. Naruto happily made his way to his team spot. When he got there he heard Sakura, "Where the hell have you been?" she said with a glare on her face. She has asked that because he was not seen for almost 3 weeks. The reason why? Naruto had been training with Sophia. It was Sophia's job to teach Naruto a few of the Uzumaki justas like Circus Ball Justu, Below Freezing Point Justu, Animal Eyes Justu, and a few others. Naruto just looked at his team. Naruto was going to tell the pink banshee, but then he heard Naruto-kun. Naruto turned and saw Sophia running over to him. Kakashi, Sasuke, and Sakura looked at the woman who was running over to him. She wore a red kimono that had Uemi blossoms on it. She had long black hair that was in a bun and 2 different color eyes. "Sophia-chan, what are you doing here?" Naruto asked in wonder. Sophia gave a grin that was almost like Naruto's grin. She said in a song full as she held up a bento box, "I made you lunch, but I forgot to give it to when you left." Naruto, who's this? Kakashi asked in wonder of the woman in front of them. He thought those eyes are not normal. "Yeah, Naruto, who is that?" Sakura asked, getting mad that this woman was very beautiful. Sasuke didn't say anything, but you could see a little blush on his face. Naruto froze and was going to say something, but Sophia had an idea that popped out. "I'm his other sensei." "My name is Sophia," she said with a smile on her face. The other 3 eyes were wide. "Naruto's other sensei? Why does the dobe get another sensei and I don't? Did the Hokage give him another sensei? And if so, why wasn't I told?" Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi thought as they saw Naruto smile to her while thinking, "Nice lie, Sophia, no problem, kid," she thought. "Naruto, is this true?" Kakashi asked while looking up from his book. Sophia noticed it and gasped in shock and anger. She then glared at him and yelled, "How dare you read such a book in front of these children?" Kakashi blinked in wonder by what she meant. She then took his book and said, "Such filth in front of young ones, how dare you!" She then threw his book in the river and it started to float away. Kakashi and others stood in silent before. "Hold on, Bookie, I'll save you!" yelled Kakashi as he dived in the river and swam after it. They all sweat dropped at the poor fool and at Sophia, who yelled out as she jumped on the bridge railing, "Pervert." She turned and said to Naruto, "Naruto-kun, you never told me your teacher read that book." Naruto blinked and said, "You never asked." She sighed but said, "True, anyway Naruto. I want you to run 50 laps before you get back to our training spot, and I want you to study the next jutsu in the scroll, understand?" Sophia said as she gave him a "you better do it before you get more laps" voice. Naruto then said, "But Sophia, you already have me learning 4 different jutsus and you're making me do more?" Sophia patted him on the head and smiled. "Got that right, brat. Now your sensei is coming back and I expect you to do as he says, but don't, okay?" Naruto sighed and said, Yeah, good. Well, later Naruto," Sophia said as she skipped away happily. Out of flashback. "And we sometimes wonder about you to Sophia-san," said a male voice in Naruto mind. Naruto laughed as Hinata and Sophia looked at him weirdly. "Kyubi said we wonder about you too," Naruto said with laughter. Hinata started to giggle too, but Sophia glared before saying, "Tell that fox to keep his mouth shut. Oh, and tell him once he's out of your body and into one of his own, I will get my revenge on him." Naruto sighed as he heard Kyubi say, "Oh yeah, as if you can take me on." Naruto told her what he said and Sophia said, "Brat, if you weren't inside Naruto, I would kick your ass." Sophia had found out about Kyubi being in Naruto, and she nearly had a heart attack. The entire time she was in Konoha, she had no idea that the leader's son-in-law was alive inside the grandson of the leaders. She had an idea a few days ago. She was going to make a body for Kyubi, and when Naruto fused Kyubi's chakra in the body, Kyubi could transfer to the body and leave Naruto's. But of course there was a drawback. Some of Kyubi's powers had to stay within Naruto, while Kyubi only got half of his powers when he left. Sophia was still working on the body, so it wasn't ready yet. "Oh yeah? Bring it on, bitch!" yelled Kyubi, who wanted a piece of her to fight with. Naruto let out a sigh before saying what he said, and Sophia got madder. She said, "Kyubi, I'm going to kill you once you get out of there." Both Naruto and Hinata sighed at her. Later that day, Hinata flopped on her pillow and looked at the ceiling in her room. It was a room near Naruto's parents' room, the main room, and his room. She looked around and saw the bookshelves filled with books. She loved this room. She could read without being called by the elders to do something. She loved the fact that her room had a lot of stuff she never knew she needed to become a medical ninja, but she had a feeling Sophia and Naruto were behind it. She got up and started to reread the scroll her father gave her before she left. After she did, she had got a letter from her father saying that the elders wanted to know where she was. As for her father himself, he just wondered if she was alright. When Hinata told him she was with another older female who was living in the house, he felt she was much safer than just having a boy around. She reread it in her mind in her own words. Upon unlocking the power, you can see pressure points that others can't. They are located on the neck. Yellow means paralyzing, blue means sleep, and red means death. Once hitting it will affect your enemy once you've hit them in the spot. Also, unlocking this power will give you the secret full power of the Hyuga clan. Only one had been able to unlock the full power all the way. Other powers are unlocked, and... She pulled out of her thoughts as she heard something. She walked over to her window and looked out. Outside was Sophia, who was watching Naruto battle something white. The white thing was fast and moved with great speed. Naruto blocked the attack as it rushed at him. Hinata looked in wonder and smiled as she saw Sophia yelling out orders. "Naruto, keep guard, don't lose forces." She went to her bed and looked at a picture of her, Naruto, and Sophia eating at the ramen bar 2 weeks ago. She smiled as she remembered how both Naruto and Sophia got into a eating contest and that and Tucci nearly went into a heart attack as they saw how much was eaten. Hinata swore she was the only normal person when it came to eating at the ramen bar. She smiled to herself and replayed every little thing that happened from that day to today. She said to herself, "I really need to thank that crazy voice one day." "Thank you," said a voice in her head. Hinata laid back and looked at her ceiling before thinking, "I wonder what's going to happen at the Chunin exams." She and Naruto both felt like something new was coming, and they didn't know if they were going to like it or not. Hinata was in the library of the house reading. She had gotten done with her training for the day and went home and wanted to read on a few things about the Uzumaki clan. She read the book in her hand. Uzumakis were said to be myths. In this clan only females are born, and the chance that a male is born is very high. Females marry males outside of the clan, and they use the blood bond that when the female gives birth, the Uzumaki blood is more in the child, so the child can unlock their power at a younger age. The most rarest age for a child to unlock it is when they are 12. The Uzumaki were said to be able to take seals off any person as long as they were on the same or above the level of the seal. Rumors that this clan was destroyed years ago by the Kyubi, but no one is sure. She stopped and looked at the time. Almost time for Naruto to return for his mission he had today. She got up and went to the kitchen for a bit. She started to mess with her locket with the fox on it before thinking, maybe I should meet Naruto after he done with his mission. She thought as she walked to the table in the kitchen. She stopped as she saw a note on the table. She picked it up and read. "Dear Hinata, I was called away to meet the Hokage about something. I didn't want to disturb you from your reading, so I thought writing a note would be better. Anyway, can you do me a favor? We need some more rice, ramen, milk, honey, and some more ink. So can you go to the store and pick some up? The money will be by the door if you go. Thanks and bye. From Sophia. P.S. Tell Naruto he has the day off today, but I might call on him later. Hinata smiled and made her way to the door and saw the money on a desk near the door. She picked it up and walked out the door. Later that day, Hinata walked out the store she was in. She hummed a tune as she went around the corner. She stopped as she saw a strange box in front of her that was supposed to look like a rock, but you could tell it wasn't a rock. She then heard yelling. A square rock with 2 holes like that does not exist. It's so obvious. She looked from the box and saw Naruto pointing to the box. Hinata then saw the box yell out, I should have expected that from the man whom I have high hopes for and is also my rival. Then the box started to light up and it exploded. Hinata blinked in confusion, and so did Naruto. She heard coughing. She looked and saw 3 kids on the ground, all wearing goggles on their heads. She heard the one in the middle say, hey, you used too much gunpowder. The 3 kids looked up and saw Naruto, who just stood there in wonder at the kids. Hinata heard the girl say her name was Moegi. Then next was one boy named Udan, and the last one was named Konohamaru, and at the end they all said something about them being the Konohamaru Corps. Hinata then asked out of Naruto, what's going on here? Naruto looked up from the kids and said, Hinata-chan, what are you doing here? Konohamaru and his friends looked back and saw a very pretty girl in front of them. Konohamaru blinked and asked, who are you and how do you know boss? Hinata looked at the boy before realizing something. Aren't you the Hokage's grandson? Konohamaru stiffened and thought she was going to call him the honorable grandson or Konohamaru-san, or Sama like all the others do. Hinata gave a smile and said, Naruto's told me a lot about you, Konohamaru-kun. My name's Hinata Hyuga. She didn't notice the look Konohamaru gave her. Kun? She called me Kun? No Sama, or San or any of that. Konohamaru thought, but he was pulled out of it as he heard Naruto whine, Hinata-chan, you're not answering me. Konohamaru, Moegi, and Udan saw Hinata chuckle at Naruto before saying, shopping. Sophia needed me to pick up some things for her. She held up the bag in her hand. Naruto smiled before remembering Konohamaru and his friends were there. Naruto looked at them and asked, why do you 3 have goggles on? Konohamaru laughed, and the other 2 smiled as he said, we copied the old you. Naruto just stared before saying, oh. Konohamaru got mad and yelled out, oh. You've been treating us so cold lately. Naruto blinked and said, and? What do you want? Hinata then said, Naruto, don't be mean. Naruto smiled to her but said, sorry, today was not so good, you know. Konohamaru jumped to Udan and whispered, see, he's so cold. Moegi blinked but smiled to Naruto and asked, well, boss, do you have time right now? Naruto gave a sad smile but said no. I'm going to go train. Hinata then said, oh Naruto-kun, I almost forgot. Sophia-chan said you have the day off today, so you do have time. Naruto noticed the small smirk on her face and he sighed, she's doing this on purpose. Hinata-chan's so evil, he thought, but soon the kids cheered in happiness. Yes, we can play ninja with Naruto, Konohamaru said with glee. He stopped and turned to Hinata. Hinata-chan, do you want to play? Hinata was going to ask something, but then someone said what she was thinking, what's the point of a ninja playing ninja? Hinata glared at the voice, hoping it was not who she thought it was. Hinata turned and saw a zombie like Sakura walking their way. Sakura looked at Naruto before thinking, but still I am lower than him? Hinata looked at her and said with a glare, and she growled to herself, Sakura, mind not to stare at him like that. Both Sakura and Hinata sent killer glares at each other for a moment before hearing Konohamaru say, you're better than I thought. Naruto looked to him and Hinata and Sakura glared at each other. Is the pink-haired yours? Right. Konohamaru said as he held up his pinky. Naruto gave horrified look before yelling out, what? Why the hell do I want to go out with that banshee? Konohamaru blinked in confusion before hearing Hinata laugh at what Naruto said and how Sakura twitched in anger. Konohamaru smiled before saying, okay, I get it, so the dark-haired one's yours, right? I have to say you have some good taste, boss. The pink-haired one doesn't look like the girl for you anyway. I don't think she's the girl for anyone really. Naruto and Hinata blushed. Then they looked at each for a moment before turning away and blushing harder. Konohamaru laughed, but then Naruto was punched in the face. Hinata turned and saw it was Sakura who punched her friend. Inner Hinata was pissed at no good bitch. I'm going to kill her. Konohamaru got pissed and yelled out, what did you do? Moegi and Udan rushed over and the dust cleared and there was a hole where Naruto hit. He was facing face down. Oh no. Boss! Yelled Moegi as Udan checked him and said his pulse. Hinata gave a death glare to Sakura and was going to kick the girl's ass. Konohamaru yelled out, you ugly girl, ugly. Just then Sakura cracked her knuckles and flames came behind her. Konohamaru's face turned from anger to fear and he yelled, Sakura, you better knock it off before I kick your ass. Hinata yelled to the girl, but she didn't listen. She punched Konohamaru on the head really hard. Hinata forgot her anger on Sakura for the moment and rushed over to the fallen boy. Hinata, Udon, and Moegi started to check the two, but then Sakura was going to walk away. Hinata sent a death glare that would put Sasuke's to shame. Udon and Moegi looked and saw the flames and aura around Hinata, and they held onto each other. Just then they could hear Konohamaru and Naruto get up. They both had bumps on their heads and they were in pain. Konohamaru said, "That ugly wide forehead girl, is she really a girl?" They heard her footsteps stops, meaning she had heard what he said. FUCK, both Naruto and Hinata thought as they saw her turn, and she had a very evil smile that meant she was mad. All of them looked in fear, but maybe not Hinata. Her inner self was saying, "Bring it on, bitch." They stood still for a moment before Sakura ran right at them. Naruto, Udon, Moegi, and Konohamaru started to run, but Hinata did not. She was going to fight. But Sakura ran right past her and went for Naruto and the kids. "That bitch," inner Hinata yelled out. Hinata glared and an anger mark come on her head, and soon she gave a chase to kick Sakura's ass. They ran for a while before Konohamaru hit something. Konohamaru looked up and saw a blonde girl and a boy wearing all black, and he had paint on his face. The boy that Konohamaru hit said that hurt Naruto, Udon, and Moegi looked at them, and so did Sakura and Hinata, who still wanted to kill Sakura. They looked at the strangers and Hinata saw their headband. It looked like they were from sand. Meanwhile, Sophia said to the Hokage-sama, "I must tell you, Naruto's progresses is quite amazing. He learned how to control nature's voice a whole month before his mother did. His mother took 2 months, and yet he got it down in one." The Hokage smiled and said, "Well, he is their son, you know that, right?" Sophia smiled before saying, "Should I send out the message?" The Hokage nodded and saw her summon some birds that were hawks. They looked at her before nodding and flying out the window to the other teachers who were with or not with their teams. Back to Naruto and the others. "Let go of him!" yelled Hinata as Naruto and the others saw Konohamaru being lifted off the ground by the sand ninja. "Konohamaru!" yelled Naruto. The boy held tighter on Konohamaru and said, "That hurt, brat." Then the girl next to him said, "Stop it. We're going to get scolded later." Sakura had to think fast, and she said, "I'm sorry. I was joking around." So she thought in her head, "Who are these people?" Naruto got mad and yelled out, "Hy! Let him go!" The boy looked at the headband and just thought, "These guys are genins of Konoha," he said, "but I want to play around before some noisy people come." Konohamaru tried saying as he tried kicking at him, "Let go." Hinata got madder and yelled out, "Let go of him right now." The boy said, "You're very energetic, kid." He held tighter to Konohamaru's scarf. Naruto held his hand in anger and was about ready to rush over before hearing Kyubi say, "Kid, don't think before entering your battles. Besides, this guy is a puppet master." "Puppet master?" Naruto asked. Kyubi said, "Yes, be careful, okay? You don't know what he can do. Besides, someone else is coming and I know this power." Naruto looked around before hearing Konoha's genins are weak. Sakura started to think, are these people from outside the country? Why are they here? Hinata then thought they must be here to take the exams. Naruto then thought Hinata was right. The exams are not going to be easy. These guys look tough. Both Moegi and Udon both yelled out, "Konohamaru-kun." The girl with blonde hair sighed and said, "I'm not going to be responsible for what you do." Naruto couldn't do this. He needed to help and he knew what to do. He looked around and noticed over a fence was a tree. His eyes widened and he understood. He closed his eyes and made a few hand signs and said, "Nature's gift, just to hidden roots." Then a strange thing happened to the tree that made all of them look, but not Naruto. The roots began to grow and they went under the fence and popped out of the ground. About 4 different pieces of roots came out on their side. Then 2 roots rushed right where the guy's head was on Konohamaru's scarf. It hit dead on. The guy had to let go as the roots wrapped around his hand and Konohamaru was about to fall to the ground, but then the other 2 roots from the tree caught him. The roots rushed over to where Naruto and the others were and dropped Konohamaru to the ground. Then those 2 went back to the tree and went back underground. But the other 2 that held onto the boy was still there. What the hell?" he yelled out in wonder how the blonde did that. Hinata rushed over and looked at Konohamaru. She smiled and said, "He's okay, Naruto-kun." Naruto opened his eyes and looked at her and nodded. He still had his focus on the guy in front of him. Naruto heard him say, "Let go of me." Naruto glared and said, "You didn't let go of Konohamaru when we told you so." "I won't." Naruto then heard Hinata say, "Naruto, you have to. They are from sand, and they are here to take the exams. We have no choice." Naruto growled to himself but nodded to her. He undid the justu and let the roots return to their spot under the ground. Naruto then heard Konohamaru say, "Wow. Boss, where'd you learn that?" Naruto smiled and said, "My other sensei. I'll tell you about it later, okay?" Sakura then started to think, how did Naruto do that? He said his other sensei taught him that. She then heard the guy say, "Brat, you're going to pay for that. I hate kids like you, who think they're so clever." He then reached for the wrap thing on his back and started to undo it. The blonde, who got over the shock of what the other blonde did, yelled out to him, "Hey! You're not to use Korosu." Naruto glared but stopped when he looked at the tree on the other side of the fence. He felt it. He felt the same person Kyubi said might be there. Naruto looked around and then saw a little bluebird in the tree. He smiled and then he whistled in a bird way. Sakura looked and saw the bird had stopped looking around on the tree and saw Naruto as if it understood him. Konohamaru, Udan, and Moegi looked in wonder. Hinata wondered too but understood what he was doing just by the look he gave her. She knew it too, someone was watching them. Then the boy with black was getting pissed that the blonde wasn't even looking at him anymore. And the girl next to him blinked in wonder what he was doing. The bluebird flew from the tree and landed on Naruto's left shoulder. Naruto whistled and the bird did too. They whistled for a moment before the bird looked at the tree and then back to Naruto. Naruto smiled and whistled something that sounded like a thank you. The boy in black got pissed off and said, "Look at me, brat." Naruto then said to where the tree was, "Come on out, Sasuke. I know you're there, you too, Sand Ninja." Sasuke gasped. How did Naruto know he was there? More importantly, what Sand Ninja was Naruto talking about? Sasuke took a step out and looked at the so-called dobe of a teammate, and wondered something. Sasuke gasped to himself as he heard someone say, "Kankuro, stop." Naruto smirked to himself and the bird just whistled in wonder. Hinata understood and stood in front of the kids. Sakura, Konohamaru, Udan, and Moegi looked up in surprise. They saw hanging upside down on a tree branch near the branch Sasuke was standing on was a redhead with a tattoo on his forehead that meant love. The redhead looked at Kankuro and said, "You're a disgrace to our village, Sakura," and a few others gasped as what he said. Kankuro then said, "Jigara." Sasuke then thought, when did this guy appear next to me, and how did the dobe know about him? Gaara looked and his eyes landed on Naruto and Hinata. He felt some strange power from the two. Gaara looked at them before disappearing in sand and was then in front of them. Kankuro was trying to say something. "Listen, Gaara." It was Gaara looked at him and said, "Shut up, or I'll kill you, Kankuro," and the girl with the yellow hair took a step back from him. He turned to Naruto and Hinata and said, "Excuse them, you guys." Both Naruto and Hinata felt his cold eyes and could see he was more than he seemed. Those eyes, Naruto thought, but then Hinata thought, "I've seen those before. Naruto once had those eyes when we were kids." Gaara stared at Naruto and thought that just it took 12 hand signs to make, but he made it look like he only did 4, and that girl, those eyes. And when he used that just as she wasn't surprised like the others, she knows. Gaara then asked them, "What's your names? Both of you. And how did you know I was up there?" Naruto then said, "Naruto Uzumaki. As for how I knew, let's just say a little birdie told me." Naruto then looked at the bluebird who whistled at him with what seemed to be happy, then it flew away knowing it had to do other things. Hinata gulped but said, "Hinata here." Gaara looked at them both and then to the Uchiha up in the tree and then to Sakura. Gaara turned and was going to leave but he heard, "Your name, what's your name?" Naruto had asked that. Gaara turned and said, "Gaara of the Sand, is all you need to know, Temari. Kankuro, let's go. We didn't come here to fool around." Kankuro said, "I know." As they were leaving, Sakura rushed over and said, "Hold on. Hey!" They stopped, and the girl said, "What?" Sakura then said, "I can tell by your headbands you're from the village hidden in the sand. Of course the land of fire and the land of wind are allies, but no shinobi can enter another's village without permission. So tell us why you're here, and it better be good." The three turned and Temari was going to say something but Hinata said, "Sakura, the Chunin exams are starting and it's being held in the Konoha, that's why they're here." Sakura looked at her with wide eyes while Temari said, "Well, at least not all of you live under a rock." They turned and walked away once more. Naruto, Hinata, Sakura, Sasuke, Konohamaru, Udan, and Moegi watched them leave while Gaara thought, seems like there is something more to those two than meets the eye. Naruto watched him go, before hearing Sasuke as he jumped down from the branch, "Where did you learn that?" Naruto glared and said, "None of your business." Team Sasuke glared back and said, "I want to know, where'd you learn that?" Naruto only glared before looking at the sky and seeing an eagle above, and he turned saying to Konohamaru and his group, "Sorry guys, I have to go. My other sensei Sophia is calling me, and if I don't do what she says, I'm going to do more homework than I like. Hinata-chan, I'll see you later, okay?" He then started to run from them. Hinata smiled and waved bye before she turned evilly to Sakura, who started to shake in fear from the evil girl. Hinata then said, "Sakura, I do believe I have to get some payback for what you did to Naruto-kun and Konohamaru-kun." She cracked her knuckles while inner Hinata started laughing like a mad person while Sakura thought, "What happened to the shy girl? I remember." Sasuke slowly walked away. Konohamaru was watching while eating popcorn. Udan shaked in fear, while Moegi was wishing she would be that strong one day. A few days later, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura waited for Kakashi to come. Naruto had gotten bored and pulled out a book, sat on the floor on the bridge and some paper. He started writing on the paper while reading the book. Sakura looked at the book over his shoulder but only saw strange symbols and words. She asked Naruto, "What the hell is that?" Naruto looked at her before glaring and turning the book to a different area so she couldn't see it. Naruto read the questions Sophia told him to answer. This Uzumaki was named Yasashika Uzumaki, who had the lunar and solar Hikari. What did she do with her power? And why is she the most known? Naruto thought before remembering. She used her power to heal the weak and sick. She's the most famous because she found the crystal star locked in the Senka Tower, allowing her clan to survive the Tears of Blood War, and rebuild their home, Naruto whispered to himself, but it didn't go unnoticed by his teammates. They looked at him for a while, and Sasuke was going to ask what he was talking about, but then Kakashi came with a poof. He only heard Sakura yell, "You're late." He looked from his book and noticed Naruto was writing something on a paper. Kakashi wondered but said, "Sorry, but I got lost on the road of life." Sakura yelled out, "Liar," and Naruto shot a glare at her, and said, "Mind to keep it down. I have to study, or otherwise Sophia-sensei is going to make me do more of this fucking homework." Sakura glared at him, while Kakashi said, "Naruto, I have been meaning to ask, why do you have another sensei?" Naruto looked up and noticed all eyes were on him. Sakura wanted to know, Sasuke wanted to know if she thought him that just he used a few days ago, and Kakashi wanted to know where she was so he could get his revenge on her for throwing his book in the river. Naruto said as he put the book and paper away in the ceiling scroll he had, "I saw her in the woods and we got to talking about things. She wanted to help me and so she asked the old man if she could train me and he said sure. The next day she came and told me that I was to train under her along with you." Kakashi Naruto told them the lie Sophia told him to tell. Not feeling quite happy with the answer, but Kakashi said, "Okay, I know this is sudden, but I entered you 3 in the Chunin exams. These are the entry forms." He then pulled out 3 forms. Sakura said, "Entry forms?" Kakashi nodded and said, "You don't have to go if you don't want to. There is always next year." Naruto smiled and took his before yelling, "Yes, I get to see Hinata-chan in the exams. I can't wait." They looked at him before Kakashi said with an eye smile, "Really, Naruto, so your girlfriend is in it?" Naruto blushed while Sakura looked a little pissed off. "She's not my girlfriend." "God, why does everyone say that?" He yelled out. Sasuke said, "Maybe it's because you both spend a lot of time together." Naruto sent a glare and didn't notice Sakura's anger mark. Kakashi smiled under his mask and said, "By the way, it's tomorrow." Then he disappeared in a poof of smoke. The next day, 5 a.m. Naruto put all the things he needed in the ceiling scroll. He had about 3 medical kits in it, 6 easy-to-make meal packets, about 12 kunai and shrunken holders filled with weapons, and a lot of other things in the scroll. Hinata did the same with her in her room. She had about 5 medical kits, 7 easy-to-make meals, 10 kunai and shrunken holders, and other things in her scroll. She thanked Sophia for teaching her the ceiling just to. Both Naruto and Hinata walked out their rooms, scrolls hidden on an elbow pocket under their new outfits that Sophia made for them. Hinata wore a short-sleeved shirt that was a light pale purple color. Her fox necklace was now a choker. She had replaced the chain for a choker. She wore fishnet gloves on her hands. She had pants that stopped just a little below her knees. On the right leg she had ninja pouch, and on the left right where her knee start was a fishnet that went down to where the other pant leg stopped. Her headband was now on her right shoulder, and her hair was a little bit longer now. Naruto wore a long-sleeved shirt. The sleeves were a dark orange while the shirt was dark pale color. He wore long pants that went to his feet. His raven necklace shined and moved as he walked, since he had been training with not only Sophia and her summons, but thanks to training with Hinata, the baby fat from Naruto's face had faded and it was more lean. His eyes were a little shaper and his hair was much more messy. His body was also lean. He still wore his headband on his head. As they both went to the front of the house they stopped and looked at each other. They blushed and said hello. They looked at each other before hearing Naruto. Hinata. They turned and saw Sophia standing in front of them. She smiled and said, "You two have a great battle ahead of yourself. These exams will not show mercy. Hinata, I am proud you have changed from that shy girl that came into my shop, into a great young woman. Naruto, you will show that you can win no matter what. You are no longer cocky and rushing into battles now. You think before entering your battles now, and you don't take your enemies for granted." They both looked at each other and smiled, but know this, they looked back, your battles would be dangerous. You may even have to face each other in combat if it happens. Never give up and never back down. Sophia walked over and gave them both something. Sophia smiled and said, "Take care and good luck to you both." She then walked to the house behind Naruto and Hinata. They looked at the thing Sophia gave them. It was 2 small stones that read, "If you put them together no matter how far I will be near you." They looked at each other before putting the stones away and walking to the village. They were quiet until they reached the part where they had to split up. Naruto looked at Hinata and Hinata did the same. Naruto said, "Hinata-chan, be careful and good luck." Hinata nodded and said, "You too." And Naruto-kun. Naruto said, "Yeah?" She said while looking down, "If we do fight with each other, don't hold back." She looked at him with excitement and determination in her eyes. Naruto blinked but nodded a yes. You two. They shook hands before turning and making their ways to their teams. At the same time they thought good luck. Meanwhile, "We are almost there," said Suki said with a smile as her mother and Kasumi walked to Konoha. Kasumi smiled and said, "I can't wait to see my family again." Toki smiled and said, "I can't wait to see Naruto." Kasumi nodded and said, "I hope he's alright." Toki smiled to her and said, "I must thank you for protecting him all those times he was in danger when he was a child." Kasumi smiled and said, "Hey, don't worry about it's the least I could do for Minato and Kushina. Those guys were my best friends." Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura walked in the hallway and saw a group of people all in the hallway. They walked to the front of the line. Naruto looked at the sign and smirked to himself, trying to make us think this is the room, not bad. He was going to say something but saw a boy wearing green being hit and the boy fell. A girl next to him who had her hair in buns rushed over to the fallen boy. Hey, that wasn't nice. Meanwhile, finally, yelled a voice in the Uzumaki household. It was Male's voice that sounded happy. He, the man that had yelled, that was Kyubi. He looked at himself in the mirror. He looked just like he once was before he was sealed within his nephew. He was happy that last night Sophia got done with the body, and during almost the entire night Naruto had transferred some of Kyubi's power, his thoughts, and other things so the body had life. Kyubi sighed and said, "Man, I feel like a citizen of Konoha now, all of my beautiful power gone," he said dramatically as he put his back hand to his head. He was then punched on the head by a pissed off and sleepy Sophia, who walked into the room because she could hear him all the way to the other side of the house yelling, "Shut up, you fox idiot! I'm trying to sleep." He glared at her and stuck his tongue at her. She gave a sigh before saying, "How's Naruto?" Kyubi smiled and said, "He's doing good, just got to the exams and his teammate is such an idiot." Even though Kyubi had his new body, that still didn't mean he couldn't see and talk to the kid, and besides Kyubi still needed the rest of his power back. Sophia nodded before walking out the room to go back to bed. She stopped and poked her head into the room and said, "If I hear one more peep out of you, you are dead meat." Kyubi only shuddered at that thought. Meanwhile, "So your husband was Kyubi?" asked Kasumi in wonder as they were getting closer to Konoha. Toki only nodded and said yes. Kasumi then asked, "Wow, then why'd he attack Konoha?" Toki gave a sad sigh and said, "I was almost killed. This scar on my throat is proof. A strange man came into the Uzumaki main house and told me to give him the Immortality Scroll, but when I refused he tried to kill me. I was almost dying when Kyubi came back from his mission my mother and father gave him. I tried saying something but I couldn't. I saw Kyubi ran at this man and the man ran out of the house, and before I could do anything Kyubi ran after him. I was found by the doctor who always comes to check the baby. She and other doctors did their best to save me. I was asleep for 4 weeks until I woke up and heard my sister, my brother-in-law, my nephew, and husband were gone. Then months later I had Tusky. I let my mother and father return to the clan leader while I take care of my daughter along with other children who need my help." Kasumi nodded in understanding. She then said, "But now you know, Kushina and Minato's son is not dead but alive." Toki nodded to the woman. She smiled to herself and said, "I can't wait to meet him." They stopped walking as they saw the gates and the guard sleeping. Tusky grinned and said, "Hey mom, I think we should just go in. You know, to surprise the Hokage and cousin." Meanwhile, Naruto felt like banging his head on the wall, but instead he yelled out, "Damn it, team! If you didn't blab that out, then the exams would have less people. That was part of a test." Sasuke glared at the pissed off blonde. He was silently cussing at himself too, but he wouldn't let the blonde know he was right. He then said, "It doesn't matter anymore. Everyone is heading for the exam floor anyway, let's go." He and Sakura were going to turn to walk away, but heard hold it. Team 7 looked and saw a boy with brownish black hair and white eyes, the girl with the buns, and the boy with green and big eyebrows. The boy with white eyes looked at them and said, "What's your name?" He was asking Sasuke the question. Naruto looked at the boy and thought, he's part of the Hyuga clan, the lower branch. I think Hinata-chan did say she had a cousin that was going to be in the exams this year since he didn't last year. Niji, I think his name was. Naruto watched as him and his teammates speak for a moment before noticing the girl with the buns looking at him, and then to Sasuke with a small blush. Naruto was now confusion at the girl before noticing the boy in green had hearts in his eyes for his pink-haired teammate. Naruto rolled his eyes for the poor boy and sighed. Naruto heard his teammate ask the Hyuga, "What's your name?" He was going to answer, but Naruto said, "Niji Hyuga, right?" Niji looked at Naruto for a moment before glaring a bit but nodding yes. "How do you know that?" Naruto smiled and said, "I'm a friend of Hinata-chan. She told me a bit about you from time to time." Niji gave a look at Naruto before saying, "Really, where is Hinata-san? And who are you?" Naruto didn't like the way Niji had said "san." It was as if he didn't even want to give her respect. Naruto Uzumaki is the name, and as for Hinata, she's been hanging around Konoha for a bit. Although I know she's going to be in the exams, maybe you'll see her, or even better yet fight her," Naruto said, knowing that the other elders needed Hinata back even when they didn't want her back at all. Niji almost laughed at the idea and said, "Sorry, but Hinata-san is one of the weakest Hyugas in our clan." Naruto bit his tongue to stop himself from yelling and or punching Niji in the face. He hated it when people talked badly of his friends. Naruto had kept his cool and said, "Not anymore, Niji. She's really strong, and believe me, she won't take shit from you or the other elders anymore, so if I were you, I'd watch what I'd say in front of her." Naruto turned and said, "Come on guys, let's get going." Sasuke could only smirk at what the blonde said, and Sakura nodded a little before they turned and walked off. But then Naruto stopped and turned to the boy in green. "Hey, by the way dude, if I were you I'd find a better girl to crush on, because this one is nothing more than a banshee." Sakura gave a glare and started to rant at Naruto for what he said before walking with Sasuke. Naruto grinned and walked with them and shrugged. Lee was only confused. Later, Naruto felt like he wanted to bang his head on the wall again as he and his team walked the halls. They had just gotten done talking to Lee and Guy. They both freaked Naruto out. Naruto felt sad for Lee. If only Lee knew how much of a bitch Sakura was, and Naruto found it funny that Lee beat Sasuke's butt. He and his team made it to the doors. Naruto felt 3 familiar churkas. One was that boy Gaara, one was Niji's, and the other was Hinata. They then saw a cloud of smoke appear in front of them, and from inside the smoke was Kakashi. Kakashi gave a smile and said, "Good job, guys, you made it. You do know that if you all didn't come, then none of you could enter the exams, right?" Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto were a little shocked with what Kakashi said. Naruto smiled a little to himself. He knew for sure Hinata must have known about it, and that meant she was in. Naruto waited for his sensei to stop talking, and when Kakashi left them to open the door, Naruto was cheering in his head. He and his team opened the doors to the exams. Naruto and his team saw many people looking at them with glares and glances. Naruto gulped and muttered, "Hinata was right, this is going to be tough." Naruto looked around the room before hearing, "Look, it's Naruto and his team." He and his team turned and saw Kiba smiling, Shino looking also, and Hinata smiled to her friend. "Hey guys," Naruto said as he went over to talk to them, but then he heard something attack Sasuke. Naruto turned and saw Ino hugging his arm, with her teammates behind her sighing. He gave a sigh at the love-struck girl that held on to Sasuke while Sakura yelled at her to let go. Naruto turned back to Kiba, Hinata, and Shino and started to chat with them before hearing from Ino, "Oh my dear Sasuke, you must have had a hard time being on the same team as that forehead girl and ramen crazy Naruto." She stopped for a moment before asking him, "Where's Naruto, by the way?" Naruto smiled a little to himself before saying, "Over here." She looked over along with Shikamaru and Choji, and then her eyes nearly popped out of her head as she saw him. Choji and Shikamaru had a surprised look also at the changed and different-looking boy. Ino blushed bright at him and yelled out, "Naruto! Is that you?" She began thinking, how the hell did he change from yelling loud-mouth idiot to hot cool hunk? She then started to debate on who looked better, Naruto or Sasuke. Naruto then said hi to Shikamaru and Choji before Ino noticed Hinata's outfit also. She then said, "Hinata, is that you? Wow, you look great. Where'd you get the awesome outfit?" She yelled out in wonder. Hinata smiled sweetly and said, "Yes, it's me, thank you, and this outfit is homemade by my favorite person." Ino gasped, and Choji and Shikamaru felt like they were going to get a heart attack. Hinata did not stutter at them, and she said it so perfectly. Hinata was clueless but spoke to Naruto and said, "So you meet with my cousin and his team, did you?" Ino gasped louder. She thought around the lines. She didn't blush or stutter. And she's talking to Naruto. Naruto! She has a crush on him, and the last time I remember Naruto didn't know she alive. As a matter of fact, he didn't even know she was in the same class as him. What is going on? Ino and her team were confused, and before she could ask anything, she heard, "You guys mind to keep it down? You're getting unwanted attention." They all turned and saw a man older than them with white hair, glasses, and a purple outfit. Naruto and Hinata didn't like this. He was far different than what he was leading on. Naruto turned to Hinata, and Hinata nodded, knowing what he meant. She looked at Kiba and said in a low voice, "Kiba, you and Akamaru sniff this guy. Me and Naruto don't like him. He is a lot different than what he leads on." Kiba nodded and told Akamaru quietly, "Do as they said." When they both did, they felt like they wanted to hold their nose bad. Kiba looked at Akamaru, who nodded that they had the same scent they were smelling. Hinata and Naruto waited for their answer as they saw Kabuto, as he called himself, talk to the others. Kiba then said in a low voice, "He smells like snakes."